Yes, people. Welcome to LFC Red Forever channel. So I've decided today, because I've got the day off, to do this with you, do the deadline day window with you guys, and enjoy it at the same time as well. But it could be an issue as well because a team is chasing Mo Salah, and they are very relentless. They're not stopping by any means necessary. They keep putting their bids up, and what worries me, we've seen this before at Liverpool Football Club with Fernando Torres and Suarez and big players like that. Can this happen again? And I don't think it's going to happen because we ain't prepared for it. And if we ain't prepared and then we accept what 200 million everybody's talking about, what are we going to spend it on? What, the transfer window is about a few hours away. So what can we get for that? Nothing. So we've got to be careful how we go on this. We need to find a way. We keep Salah, and there ain't gonna be any issues, if you know what I mean. So let's talk about this, people. Let's do the transfer. Let's talk about this. Let's do this. So it's pretty obvious. Liverpool Football Club keep on rejecting offers from Al Etihad. Al Etihad is a team in Jeddah, that's where I was born, and from what I've seen in transfer windows at the moment with Saudi Arabian clubs, they're flexing their muscles. They ain't taking a no for answer. They want to make their league the Super League, and who in the Premier League can you target other than the teams you already own, the teams you already sponsor, and that's the team that's you're not sponsoring and that's got no affiliation with you. That's probably going to cause damage against the teams you own and sponsor. Do you get what I'm saying, people? We talked about this earlier. So this is what I'm trying to tell people. Why are you chasing Kevin De Bruyne? He's about 32, 33 now. Why are you chasing players like that that's coming to the tail end of their career? Why are you chasing a guy who's in his peak of his powers at the moment? It's all a mess if you look at it from a point of view of Liverpool. But from the point of view of their rivals and their people, if you know what I mean, it's a step in the right direction to get Liverpool going downhill. That's what I worry about. I'm wearing Barcelona top today, boys and girls, because it's a transfer window day. I can't keep watching wearing Liverpool stuff, if you know what I mean. So let's do something else. I got this as a gift. It's R9, by the way. It's not Messi anymore. There you go, R9, the greatest number 9 that ever lived. My favorite player, along with John Barnes. Yeah. So this is what I want to talk about. Like Mo Salah is heavily getting targeted by this Etihad club. And obviously Benzema plays there. I think Kante plays there. So obviously Fabinho plays there as well. So this club is financed by obviously the government, as all the Saudi Arabian clubs are. You're wondering why even smaller clubs are getting big players. They're trying to turn their league into a super league. So what they do is they trying to diminish the best league in the world, which is our one, to benefit their one. And well, they already did it majority of the time. They bought into the league. They do whatever they want as well. So we need to be careful how we go in here. And if we sell Mo Salah today, we're in deep trouble, my people. So we've got to find a way out of this mess. And we've seen these owners that we have do this messy stuff before. So let me get to the comments as we go along. But let me do this because, I'm trying to do stuff for you as I, bring new stuff at the same time. So check this out. Tell me what you think. I'm doing things out of the box today. So I hope you guys are going to like it. Let's do this. So, there we go. Doing something out of the ordinary. I'm worried. I gotta be real. I'm worried about Mo Salah. I hope he doesn't go because we need him more than anything now. You know what I mean? He's at that stage like we're getting the players that's good for the club, the players that's gonna push us that bit further in the league, and if our talisman, if our leader, if our one of the best players in the world, Mo Salah leaves us, where do we get those 20 to 30 goals a season from? That's the question you need to ask yourself as Liverpool fans, if you know what I mean. So as you can see, they want to up to 175. Liverpool have rejected that offer as well. So I'm expecting a 200 million next. And that's what's worrying me more than anything. Gravenberch is already at Anfield. Not Anfield, the AXA training ground. I've heard he's taking pictures and all that stuff. Everything's okay. So he's the one we're waiting for at the moment. As soon as that comes along, I'll obviously announce it to you guys and probably get a picture up of him, you know, wearing the Liverpool kit as well. So as you can see, these are the transfers that's already happening right now. I hope you like the screens because, you know, I made a lot of effort doing this as well for you guys, especially. Amrabat is going to Man United, by the way. He's going to loan. Man United can't spend money, so they had to get a loan away in a loan to get him, if you know what I mean. So they're going to be frightening with Amrabat in that midfield next season. Ansu Fati from Barcelona, he's here as well for Brighton on loan as well. So you can see like there's a lot of players that's going, especially Nottingham Forest. They're outspending everyone, man. They're crazy, man. Nicola Dominguez for Bologna. Look at that. Like, who would have thought like, the likes of Nottingham Forest are buying these players? Evans, Johnny Evans has gone to Man United, gone back. 1 year deal. They need experience in the back line. Obviously, Maguire ain't leaving. He wants to stay forever the way it's going, and it's not good enough. And you got Tavares from Arsenal going to Nottingham Forest as well. Nottingham Forest always spending, man. They've got more money than anyone. It's crazy. It's crazy. And then you got Reguilon from Spurs. He's going to Man United on loan. Obviously, Luke Shaw is injured, so he's going down there to strengthen them up. And Hudson-Odoi, the mysterious boy, is going for 8 million. I remember he was costing 4 million not so long ago, going towards Bayern Munich. So it shows, you know, sometimes the career can just twist like that. And then you got Altai, I don't know how to say his name, Altai from Fenerbahce, the goalkeeper, is going to Man United for 4.3 million. And then you got Salah. Obviously, this is the person we're discussing. This is our talisman. This is our main striker. He means everything to us. You know what I mean? So if he leaves, we're in a bad predicament, and I worry about that, Liverpool fans. We're not ready. We're not ready for him to go, and we've got to find a way to keep him, because you know sometimes that transfer of 200 million is pretty tempting, and that's what we don't want to do. Because if he leaves, I guarantee you the fan base who are loyal to FSG will come out the woodworks and have a go at them as well. So far, the transfers like this, I've got the screen above me. I'm watching it as well. Aston Villa have signed Clement Lenglet from Barcelona. I think he played for Spurs last season. So that's another player that's going down there on loan. It's not like players they're signing. And we already know about, what's his name, Mateus Nunes. But I'm just waiting for this guy to be announced very, very, very soon. As soon as it announced, I'm going to bring it to you. Paulinho is not going to Fulham. Sorry, he's not going to Bayern Munich, people, by the way. He's staying at Fulham. That transfer broke. I think it's just the timing, I suppose. If you look at Fulham, it will take them a while to get the replacement for Paulinho. You know what I mean? Because he is the inspiration. He's their leader. He's the midfielder that controls them. You know what I mean? So if they get rid of someone like that, they're probably going to be dropping down the table, if you know what I mean. So they need something similar, someone with the same kind of attributes to, you know, take his place. And I don't think they could have found someone like that. So Bayern Munich have to wait for that. But a lot of people were saying, if you don't buy Paulinho, is it going to affect the Gravenberch transfer? No, because Gravenberch is not even playing for Bayern Munich. So how can it affect that? It doesn't make any sense. But what I've heard, it's a big fat no. So Gravenberch is still coming to Liverpool no matter what happens with that Paulinho thing. Please hit that subscription button, notification button, like a button, and all that good stuff. I'll stay with you as much as I can, but I'm gonna go on and off, obviously, and update things for you, and then I'll come back live again. And then 9 o'clock, hopefully, people will join me. We'll do a panel show as the transfer window closes. I'm here, guys, and boys and girls. I'm gonna be here for a while. I'm off work at the moment, so it's all good. Finally. Nick says, Nick says, I can't see anything but Gravenberch coming in tonight. Me too, man. I don't think there's anything. Sorry if it's a boy or a girl. I don't know what it is. I hope this happens, mate. I'm hoping there's no issues. You know what I mean? I've even heard the plane didn't even take off from bloody Germany last night. So they had to wait for him this morning. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. 19 people watching. Please hit that subscription button, notification button, like button, all that good stuff. If you're new, please hit that like button. If you're old, because we need the thing going trending around YouTube. The wife says Gravenberch to be announced anytime now. Salah not going anywhere. No more signings for LFC. My thoughts. Yeah. A lot of thoughts, probably, yeah. Philip says, Fozzie, you are a bit quiet tonight. Huh? What do you mean? Like, in regards to that? There we go. Hopefully, it's more louder if I'm hoping me. P says, a 4-team Super League. It is crazy. It is, isn't it? Like, to be honest, man. But what you need to understand about this Arabic country, especially Saudi Arabia, a lot of you don't know, I was born there, so I came here when I was a baby, like 9 years old to 8 years old. So I don't remember a lot, but it was very strict in Saudi Arabia. Like, you can't really do things unless the law is around the area. You know what I mean, women can't walk alone and all that stuff. They're trying to change things like this to make the humanity side better. You know what I mean? Because the human rights in that country, especially to the Westerners, is very, very bad. So they're trying to calm it down into the extent of, you know, women like doing what, like working. They couldn't work it back in the day. They can't drive a car back in the day. Now they could do all that stuff. You know what I mean? They do youth working. They do businesses. The women and all that stuff. So they're trying to, like, you know, become part of the world in a way, but still keep their religion in somehow. So this is what they're trying to do. But you know, when the players are going down there, they don't have to change their lifestyle unless they want to. You know, nobody's forcing them. Like, you know, majority of the players that's gone down there, like Henderson's, Fabinho's, etc., they're all Christians, aren't they? So they must have told them, like, you don't have to change your way of life. Just, you know, come and contribute in the country and help us out, you know, make the world see what Saudi Arabia is all about, not the negative side of things as well. So that's how they're looking at it from their point of view. But at the same time, they bought into the Premier League, and now they're getting the players from the Premier League, the clubs they own and the clubs they hate. Majority of the players they're getting is obviously from Liverpool Football Club. We've got about like a few players that gone down there. We didn't go to the season thinking like Fabinho and Henderson's going to be leaving people. Like, we actually thought they're going to be here. You know what I mean? And then we're going to get the signings on top of that. But unfortunately, they had to go. So now, like, we're in a bad predicament. And then now, like, they want Salah on top of that as well, by any means necessary, which is going to be like tough for Liverpool Football Club. I don't want Salah to leave. You know what I mean? There is a time Mr. Salah is going to go. Let's just be honest here. But I don't want him to leave right now. The thing that's upsetting is the money they're offering. How many players in world football would say no to 350 a day without any tax? Think about it, people. That's your life. Your life. 350 a day without tax. And they're gonna buy you mansions, cars on top of that as well. Think about it. You saw Fabinho when he went there, came out after the game. Someone gave him a Rolex, free Rolex, man. This is what they get in their bloody pockets, man, and it's a scary thing. Salah, listen, Salah's got a few years left in him. He keeps himself fit. What does he want to do? That's what I want to know. Does he want to like leave and earn that big bucks? Or does he still want to be part of Liverpool and contribute into the success that we can have? Are we going to challenge for the league next season? I don't know. I really, really don't know. We've got quality players, obviously, and Gravenberch coming in hopefully today. But is that enough for him to say, you know what? I can stay because, you know, I can see this team can win the league. You know what I mean? All that stuff. That's what I want to see, if that's in his head. Or is he thinking, nah, they're not good enough, man. I've wasted like majority of my prime years trying to win titles. I only won one of each. I should have won more. Now I could go to another country and, you know, earn more money and win titles on top of that as well. You know what I mean? So, and not only that, it's a Muslim country, isn't it? So he could practice his religion at the same time as well. Like, you know what I mean? And it'd be crossing the road to Makkah on a regular basis. You know what I mean? So you got to think about it that way. There's a lot of things going through my head. There's someone saying to these people, Salah is available some way, somehow. Is it his agent? Is it him? Is it his wife? I don't know, his mum? Who is it? Who is the person that's telling these guys to put the money up on a regular basis? That's what I want to know. And it's scaring me, man. Because there's a reason they're coming back each time Liverpool say no. Why do they keep coming back? I mean, come on, man. Something's happening behind the scenes. He says with no... oh, okay. No. Let's see. We're talking about the Super League still. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Nick says, I think Mo goes next summer. I don't know. I really don't know, man. Money talks, man. Money talks. I'm really worried, people. But people get busy in the chat, man. I'm trying to bring this to you guys. You know what I mean? So let's enjoy this together. Yeah, Salah is a big worry for me, people. I'm really worried. I've never thought like, you know, he's gonna leave us this season, or, you know, we're gonna be under threat like this. Like I said, the thing that worries me more than anything is Torres and look how people worship Torres and Suarez and Coutinho. Come on, people, like, we never thought they would leave that quickly, but they did. And, you know, there's still hours left. Unless, you know, they come back in January or something like that, if they give us the money, something like that, I don't know. I have no idea. P says, I think Saudi is great. It opens up so many spots for the next big thing. Saudi teams want players with names. That's the thing. Like, if you want to start a new league, a Super League, that is. Let me have my tea first of all. If you want to start a Super League, you don't go after the young players that got no names straight away, do you? You go after the players that have names, and that's what they're doing. So everything comes together at the end. Then eventually, those young players will come into that league, and they will have their say, if you know what I mean. So that's the next thing for the Saudi league. Start off with the names, and then eventually bring the young players through, and then they will make their own names over there. That's what I see coming next. As you can see, people, this is transfers that's taking place right now, and it's already taken place obviously earlier. So just keep an eye on that. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting league. I'm even thinking of going back. You know what I mean? Like not like footballing wise, maybe coaching if I could do that, or, you know, if it's changing, why not? You know, it was a difficult country back in the day when I was there. Like, even though I was born there, it doesn't make you a citizen. You have to be an Arab to be a citizen. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Over here in England, they give you opportunity even if you're not Arab. You know what I mean? That's the difference. That's what they need to change over there. And yeah, I can see that happening maybe in the near future if they want to, like, you know, connect with the world. Things like that has to change. I mean, for a Muslim country, you should never like have things like that. If a person is born in that country, they're born in that country, in their passport, and, you know, they shouldn't have to their family shouldn't have to renew a visa on a continuous basis to stay in the country. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. That's what my mum had to do, even though I was born there. This is the rules that we was living under. But it looks like this new prince, the crown prince, is changing a lot of stuff. I hope those are the kind of things, because it sounds, if you look at it from an outsider point of view, you might think that's racist. You know what I mean? Like things like that. But it's just the way the countries are. That's the way if you have a country, different places, they all have their own rules, if you know what I mean. So I'm hoping they change that. Maybe I could, although my family is from Somalia, but, you know, I was born there. So maybe one day I say, yeah, I was born there. Look, there's a passport that says with my, you know, I was born there and all that stuff. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's a crazy world we live in. You know what I mean? You think like on the modern day, like things change, like in regards to humanity, but we still make ourselves look different. You know what I mean? And that's how I see it. I've always been a person that don't look at color. You know what I mean? I don't know what color was until obviously I arrived in England, and you see different things. You know what I mean? Compared to when I was living in Saudi Arabia, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, P says they don't care about making stars. They would rather have someone who used to play for Barcelona and has been at 2 World Cups. Listen, if you have that much money, you could do whatever you want. Whatever you want. Steve Copkins, well, welcome back, mate. For the Gravenberch deal sorted. I'm waiting. I'm just look, right above me. The screen is here, right above me. So I'm looking at it. I'm hoping, but that Paulinho deal to Bayern Munich going the other way is off, completely off, people. That's not going to be reignited, so forget about it. Big up, Mr. WW. Big up, mate. Big up. Thanks for supporting me as always, man. I appreciate that, honestly. Appreciate that. I hope you guys enjoy what I do as well. I don't think anyone does this kind of stuff what I do, so I'm trying to like, I'll waste a lot of time doing it, but I enjoy it at the same time, if you know what I mean, just to bring the best content for you guys as well. P says, cause earlier today the line was Gravenberch was dependent on buying getting a replacement. Honestly, cool. I can't say, man. Caution. I think I said. Would warm the bench just as well. Yeah, maybe. Listen, the kid is nothing. Like I said earlier. Would Gravenberch? He's gonna be a player playing for Liverpool on a continuous basis. You know what I mean? We haven't just like gone for him recently. You know what I mean? We've been trying to get him ages ago. He was like touted like next to better than Bellingham. You know what I mean? So if he had that higher ceiling, like obviously we're gonna go for a player like that in the past as well. But he opted to go to Bayern Munich. You know, start off slow and then go to the high-paced Premier League eventually after that as well. So yeah, listen, he's gonna be brilliant. But like I said about Paulinho, he's not going to Bayern Munich, and the transfer doesn't affect that either. So I wouldn't worry. Why that Wolf says looks like old Crystal Palace top, bro. Nah, it's the if you go back to 1997, 98, I believe, when Bobby Robson was in charge of Barcelona. That was the 90s. When Ronaldo came from PSV to Barcelona. That's that kid. I loved watching him. I was, mate, if nobody's seen Ronaldo at Barcelona, forget the Real Madrid Ronaldo. Look for the Barcelona Ronaldo. He was out of this world. Unstoppable. Players tried to kill him like on the pitch. He was just going bulldozing past them like they wasn't there. Players tried to squash him like this. He went through the middle and got a goal. To me, he's the greatest number 9 that ever lived. And I will never, ever forget the way he played football, man. It was so beautiful. So beautiful. Yeah, I know it looks like a Crystal Palace one. I know. But, come on, man. There's the badge, mate. There's the badge. Hit the likes. Help the channel, as Wild Dead Wolf says, man. Like he always says. I'm sorry. Like he always says. John Conway, the regular, the best. One of the best, obviously, supporters of the channel. Welcome, brother. Welcome. You're almost 47, mate. I can't wait for that day. I'm here to celebrate with you. You know what I mean? We're going to celebrate like it's 1969. We're going to do the fireworks like this, brother. We're going to do the fireworks like this, man. There you go. That's for you, John. It's coming, mate. It's coming. It's coming with a big happy birthday sign in the middle as well, brother. It's coming to you, mate. It's coming. Yeah, so, with Salah, I am worried, man. Like, it's a lot to bear, man, at the moment. If he leaves, oh, man, it's going to be a disaster. Like, all the hard work we did, all those signings we did, is for nothing. Because there's not a person that's going to score 30 goals a season. Oh, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Ugh. Yes, people, we're on the road to 2,000. Please subscribe if you're new and hit the like button. Listen, you ain't going to get anything like this anywhere else. Let's just be honest here. I bring this content. I create as much as I can for you, and I waste a lot of hours on it as well. Unfortunately, my computer's not fast enough. If it was fast, it would have been great, but it's not. I bought a laptop. I'm trying to make it even better next time, yeah. What I do now is actually, you know, like when I'm creating things, I do night shifts in it at work. I do 12-hour shifts, days and nights, and on the night shifts, I just take my laptop with me and I just create things from there. So when I come here in 2:30, like on my regular time slot, everything is ready in it. I don't need to. I wake up, I just come on here, do your stream for everyone, and then just go to sleep again, go to work again. So it's all good now. It's all good. Luckily, I bought a laptop. It helped me immensely. Laptop, you know. I never thought like a laptop can do so much in the modern day, but it's crazy. It's crazy. It is crazy. Let me just read on some of the comments. Yeah, with Salah, people, we just have to wait and see, innit? We just gotta wait and see. Just gotta wait and see. Just gotta wait and see. I'm just looking at the actual transfers. Mateus Nunes has gone to obviously Manchester City. That's a player that we was interested in for a few years as well, people. It's it's a travesty in my opinion, because I really liked Mateus Nunes. I thought like Liverpool were telling him like, go and learn your trade at Wolverhampton, then we're gonna come and get you after that, and you could play for us. But this summer we didn't even go for him. We didn't even look at him. There was not even a link towards him. You know what I mean? So at least Wolverhampton made a 10 million profit. I think they bought him for 43 million. They sold him for 53 million. So 10 million profit is not bad, is it? If you look at it from their point of view. P says sports washing. You could say that, but is it? We can see it's illegal from our point of view as a Liverpool fan, but from the Premier League and these people, they don't see it as sports washing. You know what I mean? The Premier League and the English, obviously, the way they work things, they tell you about human rights, they tell you about this rights and that rights, and then you got Henderson going down there, and then the people that support the rainbow came out and said, why is Henderson going there? But yet, what about the people in your country that owns your club? When are you gonna stop them doing things like that? You know what I mean? But when the money goes in your pocket, it's okay. But when a person goes the other way, it's not okay. Does that make sense? It doesn't compute to me. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But sports washing, yeah, it happens. Man City have been convicted of 115. Case. They got 115 cases on Manchester City. So where is at least one? They're winning titles now. Where's at least one conviction? Where is one out of those 115? It's not happening. We're still watching Man City dominate. We're still seeing them sign players as you can see on the screen. You know what I mean? These things are still happening, people. And where is the actual justice in things like this? The Premier League needs to get a grip, because the Saudi Arabian League, although they're doing the Super League right now, it could take over eventually. So much, all the players will be going down there. As we're speaking, for the last 41 minutes, they made about 5 million in that country. That's how rich they are. We spoke about this earlier, me and Anton. That's how rich these people are. As we're speaking, every minute that goes, they're making money massively. Man, come on, man. They're richest people on the planet, man. There's no one as rich as them. I mean, we've got owners that can't even get 2 million out of their pocket just to get a bloody seats in the stands. You know what I mean? It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Like, look at the company that's actually building the stand. They're bankrupt. What are you paying them, FSG? Anything? How can they be bankrupt if you already paid in advance? It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. John the legend, of course. Both of you are legend. Both of you are. Trudon, the legend. João Felix gone to Barca. What? Man, he was rubbish last season. Did he went to this team? He was useless last season. Someone actually bought that guy? It was just hype. You know what I mean? You know what it is with continental football. Like sometimes, like they blow people out of the water for some reason. Neymar, I never rate. I know a lot of people are born around the name by the time. If you talk about Ronaldinho, the likes of Ronaldinho, Romario, Rivaldo, Ronaldo, all these legends, Georgie Haji, Harisko Stoichkov, all these people, they made a statement. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be World Cup statement, but statement is in football in general. But what has Neymar actually done for all these praises people give him? I'd love to know, because he hasn't won a World Cup. He's won the Champions League with Barcelona, but come on, Messi was the dominant force there. When did he become on his own and become like the world star people talk about him? Now, like, he's got pot belly. He's gone to Saudi Arabia. Nobody cares if he actually plays football. I mean, I can't remember Brazilians when I was growing up, like be treated like that. Come on, man. Romario, Bebeto, Ronaldo. Come on, man. Rivaldo. There's so many great players. Denilson, the step over king. He does about 100 steps in a second. You know what I mean? Come on, like, where are these players gone? And you're telling me Neymar is close to these players? You must be crazy out of your mind. But Felix, it's just a hype, bro. He's done nothing in football, bro. He's done nothing, man. We went for 100 minutes to Atletico Madrid. What did you hear ever since? Nothing, Trudon. It's just a waste of money, bro. WW says, someone give me a flower once, wanted £3. Just give it back. Yep, just give it back, man. You don't need that. Nah, you don't need that. Steve Copkins says the next year for Mo. I'm hoping. Psychedelic Shaolin. I could say it there, bro. Shaolin. Why? Okay. Don't go. It says we need Salah this season for the Prem and Europa. Ask you a question. Let me ask you guys a question about this. Yeah, I was speaking to my mate. Yeah, I've known him for a long time. Liverpool fans through and through. Like, he's older than me as well. Do you actually think we've got a chance of winning the title this season? Put it in the comments. Like, I said, it will take us time. You know what I mean? Because we've got new players. The midfield has changed dramatically. There's no more like the same midfield. There's not even one left in that midfield. So I'm not putting too much pressure on these players like people put on Endo. And they think like Endo is a superstar. He should be performing like a superhero every game. He's only come on for 2 games and both times with about 10 men. So he's not going to be doing anything at all. So why are you putting pressure on the guy? Like, the same thing with Gakpo, like I said earlier. Like, Gakpo, when he came on the scene, oh, he's crap. He's not good enough. Time to let him go. You know, what a waste of money. We should have got someone else instead. Now everybody's begging for Gakpo to play every game. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Endo is fantastic in my opinion, man. Just give him time, man. I mean, he's the Milner replacement. He's not the Fabinho replacement. We're still looking for the Fabinho replacement. It could be Gravenberch for all we know. You know what I mean? So wait and see. Trudon says, if Salah goes, play Szoboszlai right wing and let him off the leash. Sorry, excited to see that. Szoboszlai is just a fantastic player, bro. Like, what I like about him is he came on the scene and he made a difference. You know what I mean? Szoboszlai just made a difference. He's not complaining. He just runs up and down. Like, I've said it in a different stream. I said, we don't normally go for the likes of Szoboszlai anymore. Those type of players, like the Bonner type. But you know what? You know what impressed me the other day? I had to rewind it a couple of times. I thought Botman was quick, but I saw Botman have a head start for Newcastle in the defence to get to the ball. It's the first few minutes. And the Szoboszlai comes out of nowhere and paces Botman to get to the ball. And he got a corner out of that. I said, wow, this guy can actually run too. I knew his quality. I know you could do like bits here and there, but actually run with speed. Man, I'm impressed. Impressed, man. Yeah, so I don't want to talk about Salah that much. Unless something happens, we'll keep an eye on it. That's all we can do. If there's any breaking news, I'll let you guys know. James McAteer, McAteer is from Man City. He's gone season loan. I think it's Sheffield United. That's where it was. That's where he's gone. Yeah, so let me go back on the actual pictures that I always have. We'll speak about Gravenberch. You know, I know a lot of people haven't been with me earlier at 2:30, so I'm gonna bring up our player, the player that's gonna be like signed hopefully today. So 35 million for a guy who doesn't play a lot for Bayern Munich. 21-year-old, by the way. He's 21, people. 21. So our age range is going down from 25 to 24, now to 23. So it keeps coming down every single time, and I love it. I love it. I love it a lot. He can play 8. I've heard he played 6 for Ajax before as well. So he could do those 2 roles. And he could play, you know, I think all around the midfield area. That's what I think. And what I like about him, like, you know, in tight situations, if, say, I don't know, man, let me get remotes. So if it's tight situations, like he's got the ball here, that's it. Okay, that's him. Like a player's coming towards him, he could go around him. That's how good he is. He's got power and pace. He's 6'3", people. 6'3". I mean, so he could go around players and all that stuff and dribble at tight areas. So if you got the likes of Szoboszlai and McAllister, you know, McAllister with his technical ability and his know-how and his defensive skills, and you got Szoboszlai with his shooting ability, with his pace, with his power, you know, like, and his set-piece specialist as well. And then you got this kid that's gonna be more, you know, involved in the middle area rather than, you know, at wide. Them 3 like this, oof, I'm telling you right now, domination at its best in that midfield. Woo-hoo. And 35 million, that's just up, you know, up the street of FSG. They love that kind of spending. You know, it's something they actually got from the club. You know, like the bank our bank in the club. Let's just get it and then spend it. If it's 85 million, oh no. I ain't gonna get in my pocket for 85 million. Nobody's worth 85 million unless we get rid of players and then they cost, like 45. Then maybe I could, spend that 80 million like that. But you look at Nottingham Forest, they spend money all the time. And we say Forest is smaller than Liverpool. It's crazy. Absolute crazy, man. We don't even spend as much as Nottingham Forest. I don't know, man. WW says, was born in Liverpool, but still same. Great. Liverpool is a beautiful city, in my opinion. I know, like, a lot of people don't see it that way, but yeah, it's a beautiful city, in my opinion. I like the old stuff, you know what I mean? I'm an old traditionalist. Yeah, old traditionalist. Like Mr. WW says, hit the like, help the channel, like, share, and subscribe. Thumbs up, my friend. Thumbs up. I wish I could say this name, but it's impossible for me. I'm not good with the names. KB says, Salah will always be a legend in Liverpool. But if we got 200 million, it's an offer the club can't refuse for a 31-year-old. There's always someone better who comes along. You know what, KB? I agree with you to a certain extent. You know what I mean? Like, there is a time we have to get rid of Salah. You know what I mean? But I don't want it to be now because we haven't got a replacement ready for him. Maybe in January if it's possible. But you are right. There is a time we'll have to replace our best players. And it could be now. It could be, whatever and all that stuff. But are we here to get rid of legends and players that could cause damage on other teams right now, or and at the same time compete for a title, and or not? That's what I want to ask the question to the chat. Like, if you look at these current players, they're the peak of their powers. Salah, Van Dijk, Alisson. These are the Matip. Is on and off. I don't know about him, but if you look at them three, the spine of the team, they are in peak of their powers. Do we use them up now? Or is it better getting rid of them while they still have a resale value? You know what I mean? Because if you look at about 7 players that left this season, I think about 2 of them we sold. The other 5 we didn't, free transfers. You know what I mean? So it shouldn't be like that. You know what I mean? And we haven't made any money this summer. So the money we're spending is the club's money, the money we generated, the money like we're supposed to spend when we was buying the likes of Seth Vandenberg, Adrian, and Harvey Elliott. That type of money, or Carvalho, that type of money last summer. So we're spending it now. I don't think like there's a player like Salah around in that right wing. I've never seen a player that scored as much as goals as a striker from that right wing. That's what worries me more than anything. If we get rid of Salah, tell me a player on the comments like that's similar to him that can score over 30 goals a season in all competitions. I guarantee you ain't gonna find anyone. In the right wing, I'm talking about. Forget about striker. In the right wing, he's getting strikers' goals. Can you imagine if he was a striker, how many goals he could get if he could play with both feet? Like Anton said earlier. Oof. Forget Haaland, man. This guy can get about 67 goals a season. You know what I'm saying? If he could get 45 goals in the first season, I think it was about 45, something like that, in his first season from the right wing. Can you imagine if he could play as a striker and be like a clinical finisher? Impossible, man. Be crazy goals. Crazy. So I'm looking at the transfers. Still the same thing. Nothing's changed. Same old players. So let me go to the next one. So Gravenberch. I'm just waiting for the breaking news. Then we go from there. So Man United, the scumbags. I've bought this player. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say it. I got Man United friends. So-called friends. You know what I mean? They're not my best friends. I don't like them. But, you got to have a common ground. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So, Man United, I've got Amrabat for a season loan from Fiorentina. Fiorentina left him out of their team, I've heard, in the last game. His head wasn't in the right place, so he was twerking for Man United. But Man United can't obviously spend. And the next option is, someone said earlier on the comments, sport washing. Maybe that's what's just happened. Ferguson's still going strong. Maybe he done something in the background like he always did in the past. So they got him on loan. But I'm kind of confused with Fiorentina. Like, if Fiorentina, that's their main player, why would you get rid of him on loan? Unless, you know, money, 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 money. It's raining money, mate. Raining money coming towards them. Sports washing, by the way. Let's just put that straight, like someone said earlier in the comments. Please get busy in the comments. Chat to each other if you have to. You know what I mean? Chat to each other if you have to. Yeah, but we're on the road to 2000, so let's get there. Let's get there. Let's get there as soon as possible. Please subscribe to these wonderful human beings as well, as you can see on the screen. 12 Man, Klopp Talk, LVFC TV, Baz, Uncle Rods, Nora Beats, Quasi, Jamie Phillips, and man, these people actually helped me. I mean, to even do this back again, because I was hesitant, you know, after my first stint to come back. So please go and help them out, man. I share as much as I can for them as well. So, and don't forget about Statman Stubbs. That's another guy. He's brilliant at what he does. You know what I like about Statman Stubbs? He lets the fans get involved. It's, you know, the chat gets involved. Like if you, he does a like fantasy league and things like that. Prediction league, and I like that stuff. I really like that when you get people involved. I wish I was as smart as him, then I could probably do the same as well, but I ain't that smart. It's gonna take a lot of time out of me anyway, mate, if I could do things like that. But smash the like button, people, man. Like, there's about 34 people watching. Please smash the like button, and if you're new, just subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 2000, and with your help we'll get there, you know what I mean? If you want a person that knows football, like football is his life, I'm your man. I'm still like a little kid wearing, you know, Barcelona kits. You know? Back in the day, that's what we used to do. Even though we support Liverpool or, you know, other clubs, we still wear, you know, Barcelona, Real Madrid, and AC Milan. Because if you're a football lover, you're a kid. That's what you do, innit? You have your, obviously, #1 club, but wearing other tops of the clubs, especially continental, you know, these other clubs from other countries, it's fine, man. It's fine. It's not a sin, as the people say. It's not a sin. So yeah, 34 people watching. Please go and subscribe to the channel and hit that like button, notification button, and all that stuff. I do this on a regular basis now. I don't miss a day. I don't think I've missed a day. You could ask the guys in the chat, the regulars. I don't think I've missed a day so far. So please, yeah, put that on the comment if I missed a day. Remind me what day I missed, man, and I'll slap myself. So Amrabat, what do I think of him as a player? I think he's good. You know what I mean? I watched him in the World Cup, but don't forget, people, El Hadj Diouf looked good in the World Cup. Salif Diao looked good in the World Cup. Did they become good at Liverpool Football Club? No, no, no. So World Cup can be deceiving at times. It could tell you like, oh, the player is this good, but he's really this bad. So we'll have to wait and see. But it could be beneficial for Man United if you think about it that way. Him and Casemiro in the middle can be solid, if you know what I mean. It'll be hard to play against. They could defend that defense, if you know what I mean, that terrible defense they have. That you know, Maguire and all these guys, like they could be protected by these guys. So not a lot will go through them in the middle to get to that defense, that terrible defense, if you know what I mean. So yeah, you got to think about it that way. He's all right. I mean, when Liverpool were chasing him, I wasn't big about it. I don't even know if I actually done a video about it. So yeah, Amrabat, he's all right. Is he going to change Man United? Maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. So let's see the next one. Evans, experienced defender, ex-Man United. Of course, you could see him wearing the Man United top when he used to play there before. He's good at Leicester. He was all right. He wasn't like the most attractive player to watch in the eye when you're like looking for players that you're gonna think about. Oh, when you go home, maybe this guy is, you know, as good as this, as good as that. Nah, Evans just does A to B, and that's about it. And this is what they need in that defense. They got Varane, obviously, and you know, Lindelof and all these other guys. If he's got the experience to complement that on top of their abilities, maybe he will calm them down instead of like them making those mistakes. I know I'm talking about Man United, but I've got to be neutral because I'm doing a transfer window with you guys today. Hopefully we could stay to the end and, you know, see what's happening. Yeah, but look, listen, they need that experience in defense, especially a person who knows Man United, or when you got a person that knows the ins and outs of Man United who came through their system as well. It can be beneficial for them as well. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen then there when he's in defense as well. Yeah, listen, what they got to lose? They've got the player that they wanted, and it's for free. It's for free. This guy is called Altay. He's a Turkish goalkeeper. They bought him for Fenerbahce. I think it's 4.3 million. So Obviously, that Onana, mate, like, what can I say about Onana, man? I'm glad Man United have him. I'm glad they've got a goalkeeper like that. You know, erratic, mistakes merchant. I'm glad they got a goalkeeper like that because, you know, he's nothing like De Gea. He's nothing like Van der Sar. He's nothing like Schumacher. Let's just be honest. He's more of a Taibi and Barthez in one. Do you get what I'm saying? If you know, you know. That's how I see him when I watch Onana. So, Onana, you say, oh no. Yeah, not forget Onana. Yeah, so that's how I see it with Onana. He's going to be a mistakes merchant. Come on, that was a penalty against Wolverhampton. Let's be honest there, people. I don't know how that wasn't a penalty. How did he get away with that? I mean, not even VAR, look. Pathetic, man. Absolutely pathetic. Yeah, so this is the goalkeeper they got from Turkey. I've never seen Turkish goalkeepers in the Premier League. So first, I think. I've seen, obviously, players like Tugay and all these guys that come from Turkey and come over here and done pretty well. But I've never seen a goalkeeper that actually come from Turkey and do well here. So we'll have to wait and see. We have to wait and see. Okay. Let me check the comments before I go along. Please, support this. There we go. Yes, please, you know, specialized comments on all that stuff. That's from the wife. Yeah, so Onana has got a competition now from this goalkeeper. And then they got Reguilon. Reguilon, we know him from Tottenham Hotspur. It's just not good enough, is he? I think he came from Real Madrid to Tottenham, didn't he? Just not good enough. He runs up and down that pitch, but his defensive is a lot to be desired. He's not a very good defender, people. So I can't expect him to get better all of a sudden. You know what I mean? If you're a bad defender, you're a bad defender. We were speaking about Trent earlier. You know, it's hard to teach that kind of thing as well. So they've got him as a cover for Shaw. When Shaw gets fit, I'm sure Shaw is going to go back there. Unless Reguilon does something dramatic, like they're going to have to keep him somewhere somehow as well. Yeah, so I don't rate him that much, but we have to wait and see. I'm still looking at the... oh, hang on. Yeah. Okay. I thought there's a breaking news, but it's not. Guimaraes, this is the player from Bologna, a Nottingham Forest support. So it's another midfielder, I believe. They're just buying. Nottingham Forest are just buying players, people. You know what I mean? They don't care. They're spending whatever they want to spend. You know, Nottingham Forest is a big club, people. Like, don't underestimate them. They won the Champions League twice, you know. They won it twice back in the 80s. And I don't know what happened there, but yeah, they are a legendary club. Like what I've done once in my private account on Twitter, my Fuzzy 79 account. Liverpool follow me on there, by the way, and so does a few other certified accounts. I've done Liverpool, Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest, and Man United. The Champions League winners, and I excluded Chelsea. Yeah, I think that's the next team though. And people ask me, why do you put Chelsea on there? You know what I mean? They won the Champions League. I said they bought the Champions League. They never won it. You know, they had never earned it. And then they shut their mouths after that. You have to earn things, man. What's the point in winning things if you could just pay? You know what I mean? Like the way people give Pep Guardiola compliments, like it's not right in my opinion, because he's only worked in clubs that money. I mean, and win titles even without him. If you look at Man City, they won with Pellegrini, went to West Ham, wasn't the same manager with that money. See, Mancini, where is he now? Nobody knows. He's managing Italy. They didn't qualify for the World Cup. So it shows, you know what I mean? Money can go a long way. You look at Newcastle, relegation battlers, money came in, Champions League challenges. If this doesn't show you what money can do, I don't know what will. And the way people give Pep Guardiola credit is absolutely appalling. Because I remember back in the 90s when Blackburn won the league, Kenny Dalglish won it with Blackburn, and everybody said, who won it? Jack Walker's money won it. That's what they said. It wasn't Kenny Dalglish that won it. Jack Walker's money won it. Kenny Dalglish wasn't even given the credit for that. That's how it was. But yet, when other people do it, it's okay. It's okay. Like Kopic the other day, I love the way they came out with that. Like a light just switched in their head. He went, I could have a light somewhere. The light just woke up. You know what I mean? They said, you know what? If you look at the Premier League, Liverpool is the only one that doesn't buy from these big, so-called big clubs: Chelsea, Man City, Man United, and Arsenal. This is the only team that we don't trade around in the Premier League. But I said, afterwards, I said, you finally woke up. I've been trying to tell people this for years. Nobody likes us. And it's going to be like that. because they know who the biggest team is. That's why they don't want to sell to Liverpool. This is why Salah is getting, his head turned at the moment. You don't want a strong Liverpool competing for the title. We're trying to fix a team that's going to be old machine again, but you're trying to take our best players out of that, that lineup. Why? Because you don't want us challenging. That's the whole point. But I like the way Kopic finally woke up to that and realized. You look at Arsenal and Chelsea. You're London rivals, but you're trading players with each other. How is that possible? Your fan base don't like each other. Your fan base are the ones who say, like, we should not be trading. We should not be helping each other. We want to get more trophies than you. But yet, it's happening. Chelsea helped Arsenal last season try to win the league with Jorginho and that. Now they sold them Kai Havertz and things like that. Although everybody don't rate Kai Havertz, I think he's going to come good. And I say, I'm brave enough to say it. I can see the quality in the boy. He just needs nurturing. He needs the arm around the shoulder. He needs people that believe in him. That's the thing with Kai Havertz at the moment. Let me bring in Raphael, man. I haven't seen Raphael for ages. My guy Raphael, man. Oh, man. We were in the spaces together back in the day, but I don't go to spaces no more. It's not for me, man. Nah. Ain't for me. Ain't for me. Ain't for me. Ain't for me, boy. It ain't for me, man. It ain't for me, Mr. Raphael. I'm sorry to tell you. Let me put my headphones on, yeah?
Big up, man.
Yeah, so Ramirez, this is who Nottingham Forest bought. Another midfielder from Bologna. He looks like a quality player. I haven't seen enough of him. I have to, like I said to you guys not so long ago, I need to start watching games other than Liverpool since I'm doing this again on a regular basis. So that's my plan. And that's what I want to do in the near future, like watch more games than, probably go back to UFT and do some live streams on UFT. What's going on, Raphael, bro?
What's up, man? I've been trying to.
I can't hear you. Let me see what's going on. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good, bro. It's all good. So I'm just doing the transfer window, like I told you guys in the group chat today. And hopefully more people coming at 9. Well, now it should be. What do you think of the Salah stuff, mate? Let's go back to Salah. I want to ask you, what do you think of it, mate? Like in general, like these things are happening around him, like this 350 a day instead of like a week with no tax.
I mean, I'm not surprised. He's the biggest Muslim superstar in football right now. I think it was when I saw the Saudi league kind of building up early on.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of knew it. It was the deal was imminent, man. It was especially the way they're trying to capture the eyes of Europe's football market as well as the eyes of the football market globally. It was only a matter of time before they put in a bid to really pursue him. But I do find it interesting the clubs that have been linked with him. Like it wasn't Gerrard's club; it was the club that Al Ittihad who made a move for Benzema.
Yes.
And there was rumors that came out that's like, we don't know if there's a mesh between Benzema and the gaffer. So I don't know. I expected him to come. Quite frankly, I would have been okay with Liverpool negotiating a situation where he stays at the club for one more year, but then he moves next year because he'll have a year left. And at that point, he'll be, 32, 33, give or take?
Yeah.
And so moving him for about somewhere between 75 to 100, maybe 150.
Yeah.
When a year left in this deal, I'm okay with that because then we'll have a full multiple transfer windows to possibly replace him.
Yeah. If he leaves now, what's the issue that Liverpool's gonna have, mate?
It's funny you say that because I think the way Liverpool kind of structure their transfer windows, they take one big risk. As of right now, if the transfer window nothing changes, their big risk is the left side of center back, left side of defense. So I think naturally that would have been a risk, and they would have to pick between left side of center back or Mo Salah replacement. Because of the fee that we would have got for Mo, everybody in the market would have been alerted, and they would have tried to get as much as that as possible. Everybody gets a 10 to 30 mil bump on price tag. So I think it is tough, but I think it's a better decision to keep him.
Yeah, I said that, like, with him, like, we need him, like, no matter what, because we haven't got a replacement for him. Not only a replacement, but it's the goals he brings in, bro. And there's no goals like that in world football, in my opinion. He's the only one that can provide you from the right wing with goals like that. You know what I'm saying? So if we get rid of him like for the amount everybody wants, which is 200 million, who's out there in the next couple of hours that we can get?
Yeah, and to be honest, the only right wing prospect that I think would have been worth the investment is possibly Barcola, who just moved from Lyon to PSG.
Hmm.
But besides that, the right wing market is very, very interesting uh, because, in my opinion,
Hmm.
outside of Mo Salah and Saka, is it's not much out there.
There ain't, bro. There's absolutely ain't. What do you think of this, bro? Like, I have to go back, people. Sorry about that. With Gravenberch, like, I know you analyze football and you watch these players in depth and all that stuff. What is he gonna bring to Liverpool Football Club, and where is Liverpool gonna play him? Because everybody's thinking about that defensive role, but it might not be that defensive role. I mean, Endo is it Endo. I don't know how to say his name,
Yeah,
man.
Endo.
Endo is the one. I keep making mistakes. Like, Endo is the one that's gonna be playing there, in my opinion. Gravenberch could be his successor eventually, but they might play him to cover the other players for now until he gets ready.
Yeah, I think in terms of Endo, I think the situation is he's more of a Milner replacement than Fabinho replacement. He's played across the back three. He's also played in CM, DM.
Hmm.
So a lot of that adds to some of the flexibility that he proposes.
Yeah.
And he's a veteran guy in the squad that does not have a ton of minutes on his legs. Granted, he's a year older than Fabinho, but
Hmm.
Fabinho had about 15,000 more club minutes than he did. And
Hmm.
that puts in perspective how much Fabinho has been used over the past couple of years by Klopp.
Hmm.
Um, in terms of Gravenberg, I think, believe it or not, I was calling for Gravenberg for at least a loan deal back in January.
Hmm.
So I'm happy we got the deal over the line. I think
Yeah.
if just by assessing the needs of our midfield, with also with the moves we've made, I
Mm.
think Klopp is going for just a more dynamic midfield all around. If you
That,
notice,
that's that, that's why he done in Dortmund, isn't it? Something
yeah,
similar to that. That he had to turn number 8 into a defensive midfielder. Was just Gundogan, wasn't it? Like as I
mhm.
remember.
And if you kind of go when you kind of follow that trend of thought of how he's gotten four different midfielders, technically four different profiles that can slide into multiple positions.
Hmm.
And the point is with Grav, he can. I've always thought is the investment of Gravenberg was going to be a long term Thiago replacement.
Yeah.
I think McAllister is more so your long term left center mid replacement, and you do
Hmm.
have other players who can deputize in that position.
Yeah.
But I truly believe the Thiago role of understanding how to be a tempo controller as well as being press resistant and
Hmm.
competent in first phase buildup.
Mm.
I think Gravenberch is really taking over that role. And
Yeah.
so as some Liverpool fans are pretty frustrated with.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you. Like, what's this all about? The frustration, because not so long ago, like a few months ago, when we was linked with him, and a couple of years ago, everybody was like twerking for this guy. All of a sudden, nobody wants him. Like, that's what I don't understand. I know, like, we didn't get the player that we want, which is Caicedo, but we've got to move on. That player's
Yeah,
gone
I
now.
think is it's hard for people to understand and to back the vision
Hmm.
completely because the approach has changed in previous times when we had Edwards, Ian Graham, and the entire recruitment and scouting and football director staff.
Yeah.
The We just moved a lot more decisive in the window. This is the first window post that structure, if you will,
Hmm.
and we're seeing, as it's been very clear, Klopp has a lot more power than he did in previous years.
Yeah.
And so I think with that, people are just unsure that they don't know what the next move is, and they feel like it's been a very scattergun approach, really.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of a double fold there.
Hmm.
They're unsure of what our next move is, but then there's also the aspect of Fabinho leaving very, very much split the fan base.
Yeah, it has.
And so I think part of it was, even if, regardless where you relied on the side of Fabinho in or Fabinho out,
Mm-hmm.
everybody can unite on the fact that they do not think Endo was the right quote unquote replacement for Fab.
I think
And so
he looks more of a Milner than actual Fabinho.
exactly.
Same age as
And I think
Milner,
that's what it
all
is.
rounder. You got to think about it that way. If you look from a point of view of a player, who's more similar to Fabinho? None of them. Who's
No,
more similar to Milner? And the age range as well. He came around the same
Endo.
age. There you go, bro.
Yeah.
Calmness in the changing room, calmness on the pitch.
Yeah, and I think that's the situation that like is a cause for a lot of frustration. As someone who was calling for a defensive midfielder this window, I
Mm-hmm.
never wanted to sell Fab. I always had this vision of, because we're fairly limited on funds and how we like to do things,
Mm-hmm.
I've had this vision of transitioning Fab to a left-sided center back,
Yeah.
as getting him a new deal, transitioning to a left-sided center back, and so
Mm-hmm.
that way it supports the defense long term, as well as it puts him in the position where you're not completely transitioning him out of the DM role
Yeah.
completely. You get him 10, 15 starts in the league, and then you just slowly transition him out the role over time.
Can we mold Gravenberch there though, in that position?
I
From
think
what you've seen,
he can
from
be
what you've
molded.
seen.
I think he can be molded, but I think this is something that we're like also seeing as a trend with midfielders. A lot of these players, they possess a lot of attributes, and so I think they more so fall in the aspect of double pivot midfielders rather than solo six midfielders. Because when you think about some of the eights that are on the market,
Mm-hmm.
they can perform well in a double pivot. They can perform well in a three-man midfield.
Yeah.
But the profile of being a solo six or a solo DM
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot harder to find. So I
100%.
think he can be molded, but it'll take time, because even when Fabinho was 24, it took him 6 months to understand the
Mm-hmm.
role, even though that was his natural position. So I think if we're patient with him, we give him time, I think it'll work. But I also think the move for Gravenberch will slightly shift our midfield structure a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if we start shifting more to a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, that's true. He could play in the two, can't he? Like as well.
Exactly.
So
And I
yeah.
think when you start to look at a double pivot from that perspective,
Mm-hmm.
our double pivot combinations will look very, very good with the combination of McAllister, Endo, Thiago, Bajcetic. Szoboszlai can get in there, even though I would
Mm-hmm.
prefer him in the 10. But there's a good deal of combinations that you have with the double pivot option.
Yeah, 100%. 12th man, what's going on, bro? Obviously we're doing a transfer window there today. Tomorrow we have that meeting, so we could sort some stuff out as well. We talked about Mohamed Salah. What's your point of view in regards to Mohamed Salah, bro? Like, if he leaves now, is it a problem for Liverpool? Even if we get the 200 million, everybody's touting for. Like, everybody wants that 200 million. They said if we get that, maybe we'll think about selling him. But I said it's going to cause a big problem because we haven't got a player like him. We haven't got a player that scores over 20, 30 goals a season overall. You know what I mean? So would that be a problem for us, 12th man?
Right. I think it would be, actually, to be completely honest. It's the one position that we don't necessarily have a bona fide backup or a bona fide option when it comes to replacing. I think also when we say replacing, it's something that we're doing a disservice by saying, because there's no replacing the best right wing in the world. You know, it's a matter of trying to find an alternative or trying to find something to be able to build to that level again. Because realistically, you look at the right wings in the world today, right now, the majority of them aren't not even come close to the level Mo Salah has been producing in numbers, at least.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more to the dynamics of a football club and the production and the success of a football club than just numbers at times as well, too. You have to have a player that's able to, really meld with the team, be able to create some synergy with his teammates, be able to fit into a system. And those things are all difficult to find. It's not just plug and play when it comes to getting an actual right wing, as we're calling it, replacement, for lack of a better word, but yeah, there's no real replacing Salah. He's a legend, and he's absolutely still putting out great numbers. And I also think that realistically, we don't need to sell him. We don't. As in, I understand we're going to have 1 year. I understand that money might come down somewhat, but the sheer value in players today, and this is something that I think people are also overlooking, is that a lot of people just look at, oh, well, is he a good player? And that is obvious. However, when it comes to Mo Salah, he's also a brand in itself. He's also a player that brings such enormous marketability when it comes to players. So when you have players like that, you just don't, you tend to hold on to them. You don't tend to loosely throw them around or treat them as if they're disposable.
Yeah, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. Wild Dead Wolf says Mopai in talks with Brentford, was good player for Brighton. He's all right. I mean, he's not prolific.
What's ironic is Brighton brought him from Brentford, and then Brentford sold him to Everton. I mean, Brighton sold him to Everton. But yeah,
so he came. He came from that direction.
Going back home. He's familiar with the area. He understands the club's principles, so it makes sense. Especially now that with Ivan Toney being suspended to January, they need more striker options, which I get.
Yeah, 100%. 12 man, I've got this up there. What do you expect from this kid when he comes to Liverpool? Is he the midfielder that we needed? Is he going to be that pivot? What is he going to bring that you know of? You know what I mean? Because a lot of people are happy, and there's a lot of people that's unhappy. So you got two sides of the stories here at the moment. Because they still want that Caicedo type, the destroyer in the middle. And some people say he can be there. He has played the sixth there before. And some people are saying actually it's a cheap option for FSG as well. You know what I mean? 35 million. But how do you know him as a player? What do you think of him? Can he play that role?
So I'm not going to pretend to say that I'm an expert on everything and all things that are Gravenberch, because I know that we were interested in him, and then he was so early in the campaign that a lot of the buzz wore off on him. We moved on to other players. We've been linked with 70, 73, maybe if not 75 different midfielders this year. So we're talking about a lot of different players that have gone under our radar. But I'm optimistic to see what it is. I mean, realistically, you look at it, and if you want to put it in perspective, we had a player, Lavia, that we were interested in. We had a set number that we wanted to spend, 40 million, right? And then Chelsea got involved, and then, and Southampton was very stingent upon, sticking to their price, 50 million. Okay. So then, Chelsea and Liverpool, we went back and forth, getting closer and closer to that 50, but we never met that 50 mark. And then when the deadline started to approach for making a move, then all of a sudden you saw Chelsea step up. They made a higher offer than 50 million. I think it ended up being 60 million or something along those lines. And we obviously backed out. We went for Caicedo, but we also just backed out in general. And what was interesting about that to me is that I think Lavia is a better player I think Ryan Gravenberch is a better player than Lavia, to tell you the truth, with the upside and everything. I think that there's also the fact that we got him at the price. We got him at the price that we initially wanted to get, Lavia at. So basically, this is the money that we allocated for a transfer. This is the money that we targeted for a quality player, and we got a quality player, and we didn't have to overpay for it. And that's something of good business in my book. So I'm very optimistic to see what he can bring. I know that a lot of people are talking about this pivot role for him or something along those lines. I think that's not, I think people, when they say that, they don't recognize or realize the fact that even if he were to quote unquote play a pivot, that means that someone has to move, or someone has to leave the formation. So unless we're going to play with 12 men, so and that's my role, right? So like as a 12th man here. So no, seriously, it's something that you have to really consider. And I don't think that he's a player that's going to play that lone 6 role. I just think that we want a player, which is something that we've seen with the majority of players that we've gotten. The majority of the players that we've gotten, we don't go for specialists. We don't go for these players that are typecast into playing one position. We go for multi-functional players. And that is something that I believe that Ryan brings to this team.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Guys, like, what I want to ask you as well, like, Nat Phillips is gone on loan.
Yes.
So if we don't get a defender in replacement, where do we go from here? Because I still think we need a defender. I still think we need at least 2 or 3 players, even with Gravenberch. But if this is just a transfer, are you guys happy with that? I'll start with you, Raphael. Like,
I kind of, in a way, the way FSG and the Liverpool hierarchy build their team, were always one transfer window late. And so, like, the midfield rebuild should have really started last summer, but we're late. And so I knew, expecting a center back in this window, that's expecting your Christmas and your birthday budget all on one. Like, it just wasn't going to happen. And so I think when you go back to the Newcastle match, when Quansah came on, I think that was the teaser of how they plan to execute this season. Like I've always said, like, FSG are very, very, very business oriented, all the way down to the way they process things and events on the pitch. So there's always one larger risk that they take an assessment to going into each season. And in this season, it's the defense. It's the left-sided center back options to support Verge as he gets older. And I think Jarell Quansah is going to be that option. A few folks were talking about how even earlier last season, how when he was on loan at Lincoln City, like, they really, really rate him. They think he'll come in. They think he'll go straight to the first team from playing League One football and sliding past the depth chart on a lot of the under 23 guys. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. And I think, because I've read the Intensity book by Pep Lenders a couple different times, and something that they emphasize as a theme throughout the book, they'll never make a transfer that blocks a player from coming through. And with they value the academy presence in the team the way that they do, it's clear why they held off with the midfield issues last year, because they didn't want to block Harvey and Curtis's progression. And it's the exact same thing. This is going to be Jarell's opportunity to come through and embed himself into the team, to see if he can cement himself as possibly Konate's long-term partner. We'll see, depending on how he does. And I think there's definitely pros to the situation that we're in. As much as we hate it, we haven't been in the Europa League for years. We don't like being here. But I think it will do a good number on a lot of the younger core of the squad, like Harvey, Curtis, Bajetic, Quansah. Those guys getting European minutes on their legs, getting more opportunities to play. I think that it's what will help us in the long term, especially kind of like what 12th Man was touching on with that pivot position at 6. And I think the reason why they didn't go for more like a Amrabat profile, or even chose to not sign Decore, is because they value Bajetic that highly.
Okay. In regards to Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott, do you guys still believe that they're going to be doing something? Because they've had their opportunities, don't get me wrong. I think Curtis, a lot of us can agree, he has improved. Harvey Elliott has been coming off the bench recently and changing games. Are they still the future, or do we still have to, hold back still and, think of there could be more signings coming probably in the next window or the window after that, in spite of them, if you know what I mean? If you guys understand what I'm trying to say, because how long can you wait for them for? With Harvey Elliott, he had 3 seasons now to break into that first team, and he still hasn't cemented a place. Curtis Jones has been here longer. He's getting better. He's won the Euros with the under 21s and that stuff. But is he going to be that type of midfielder that Liverpool is going to rely on in the future and probably, become near enough a captain like Trent with the first team? I'll start with you, Torf, man. What do you think of that, like, with these two players? Do you still have hope for them, or, are they just going to be those players that's like not going to be there, but we're just, hoping like they get there eventually?
Right. Well, I think that the overwhelming answer for me is I have high aspirations and high hopes for both of the players that you mentioned. Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott are exceptional talents. I also think the fact that, look, most times when we talk about the ranges of ages, normally that prime age is right around 25, 26-ish, and then going on into that 28 to 29 age range, when you're looking for the prime skill sets to be like
peak of the
display.
powers, they say.
Yeah. So if anything, they still have a little bit of time before they get to that window. But I also look at it as, sometimes I think people don't really conceptualize the fact that you need a team. We all want, in our minds, a world-class team, top to bottom, the bench, world-class, top to bottom. But realistically, no team is like that, because no player is, if a world-class player is on the bench, it's either because he's maybe at an advanced age and he can only offer limited minutes, and he's accepted that role, or that world-class player is someone that is so young that they haven't really gotten to that level. They haven't gotten the consistency of playing at a world-class level just yet. They haven't learned those veteran skills that it takes to maintain those levels. And what you have in Harvey Elliott and what you have in Curtis Jones are two players that have learned how to be team players. Team players in this constitute. They understand the fact that, no, they're not necessarily going to be a starter every game. Do they want to? I'm sure everyone wants to be a starter. But to understand the fact that there's a process, to understand that there are certainly people that are above their level at the current time, but those players aren't always going to be in that position. It's about setting yourself up to complement the team currently, and then eventually be able to be that person when the opportunity presents itself. And I think that Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott are learning from the best, and they're going to continue to develop. And I think that once the opportunity in that window presents itself, I'm thinking that they're going to be well trained and well conditioned to take on those roles.
That's good. Yeah, I agree.
I totally agree.
What about you, Rafa?
Just to kind of touch on what 12th Man said, I think an important aspect to think about this season is we're used to the Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday schedule. We're shifting completely to Thursday, Sunday, Thursday, Sunday, Thursday, Sunday.
No more 12 o'clock kickoff, innit?
Yeah, man.
Right.
And so we're going to be in the positions where we got guys that play Thursday night in France. If they're red zoning after that game, they may not even be able to get 15 minutes come Sunday. So I think having the midfield depth, using the midfield the way we do, a lot of legs running around, I think it'll help us so much in the grand scheme of things of being able to almost have two completely midfield threes that we're confident with pushing out there consistently. Like I said, granted, Thiago just has a setback, but Bajcetic is back in the squad. He'll be probably start making his first appearances in a couple more matches. Endo still has some betting in to do, and then I believe Morton went out on loan. I'm not sure, but
I don't think he's still. I think he's still there. I haven't heard.
Yeah, I think he's still there. But when you think about it, adding Ryan to that, as well as having Dom and McAllister and Curtis and Harvey, it gives us so many more options of how we want to. We talked about playing with pivot, and I think we're going to explore much more with systems this year than we ever have in the Klopp era. I think the principles we're going to see are going to be the same, but I think the personnel that executes it will shuffle quite a bit in terms of shape. We've seen them play with a little bit of like a 3-2-2-3, someone calling a box midfield. I wouldn't be surprised if we find ourselves playing a double pivot on Thursday nights, and then we go back to the traditional 4-3-3 in the league. Because at the end of this day, it will be great to win the Europa. It would be great to win the FA Cup or the League Cup. And the league, we're prioritizing getting back in the champs, even though the champs format is shifting. And hopefully those English clubs in the Champions League do well to push the coefficient to the point where fifth place to qualify for the champs. We're still focusing on top four. And so being in a position where you can still put a very strong 11 out there every Sunday and not worry about having to drop points or sacrifice the game on Thursdays is huge. So I think Harvey and Elliott are going to get a lot more minutes than a lot of people expect. And I think Bajcetic too. And I think those Europa League minutes are going to be so important for his production.
What was the injury, by the way, Rafael, to Bajcetic? Like, what was the like? Was it just too many games? Why did he just like?
They didn't really disclose a ton, but it was a knee injury. I believe it was like a slight meniscus tear, but I can't completely confirm. But like from what some of the reports came out, it was like a slight meniscus tear, which is good to know now that he's healthy. But I've learned this like from like youth sports and just like my childhood. The same year that a player has a fairly big growth spurt height wise, he's also going to be either plagued with injuries or there's a big injury coming.
I think Steven Gerrard had the same issues, didn't he, when he was like a kid?
Exactly. And from what I heard, he grew about 3 to 4 inches last year. And so I'm not surprised that there was an injury. It sucks that we lost him in the squad.
Yeah.
But I think that's a player that may surprise a lot of people in terms of his long-term potential. I think we saw a lot of what he can do. But the confidence that the gaffers put in him, because he was a center back in the academy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Transition to defensive midfield and then make the transition to an 8. Someone who has that kind of tactical flexibility, that can understand the system and play decently competent at all 3 roles. Man, that harps completely exactly on what 12 Man was saying, how the best way to cement yourself in this Liverpool team is to be positionally versatile, with a good work rate off the ball and have a good understanding of the system. And he's doing exactly that. So
he did that. He did that in preseason, Rafael. He came on the scene in preseason. That's how we all spotted him and thinking, "Who's this kid? Like, he's amazing." And he was just like controlling that midfield. And then we thought to ourselves, he could be the next big thing. But we've seen it before. But normally when they impress in preseason, we don't. They fall off their grace, and then we don't see the same player anymore, if you know what I mean. But this is what I want to speak about as well, guys. Like, to you, Rafael, first of all, what do you think of this guy going the other way, man? Because we worked hard to get this guy last season. Obviously summer before that. And we even said, like, let him go to Wolverhampton first, and then we'll get him after. Man City was chasing that Paquetá. Is it Paquetá, the one who plays for West Ham?
Yeah, Paquetá
and there's a gambling issue, isn't it? Yeah, it's a gambling issue he had, so they couldn't sign him because he made a tackle in a certain game and he betted on it, a family betted on it or something, that he's going to do that. So he got caught out in that. And now they opted for Matheus Nunes, who was impressive, by the way, against Man United at Old Trafford. Dominance at its best. What I liked about him, bro, like, is getting that ball off the defense and just going direct at Man United. That's what he was doing the whole game, and I haven't seen anyone do that at Old Trafford for a long time. And I'm just gutted it's going to Man City. But what do you think, like, them signing this player, man?
I think, kind of like I said, we move a window behind. City secretly move a window ahead all the time.
Yeah.
Because what's crazy is the player that I believe he profiles closest to is Kovacic, which ironically moved to Man City in the same window. But it's the way they direct their recruitment from center back to midfield. And what's crazy is we've kind of alluded that there are multiple teams in the Big Six that needed a bit of a midfield rebuild. And a lot of people weren't sure how they were going to replace Gundogan in the midfield, but I think they've done that and some with adding Kovacic as well as Matheus Nunes. I think it sucks that we didn't get him because, like you said, the way he can get the ball off the center backs and literally just run and dribble through an entire team, it feels like that's an attribute that you absolutely want to have in your midfield. But I think he'll be a good fit, but like most players in their first year with Pep, they do tend to get some game time, but they undergo the reprogramming. And we've seen it with like multiple players. We've seen it with Riyad Mahrez. We've seen it with Jack Grealish. We've seen it with Rodri. We've seen it with just everybody that's going there and had an impact. There's like a first year reprogramming that has to happen. And once you start to see the pitch and understand the game the way Pep wants you to understand the game, that's when your true ceiling gets revealed to the rest of the world.
Yeah, I honestly think we missed out on that. What about you, 12 man? About Matheus Nunes, mate? Like, have we missed that? Have we missed out on a player here? I mean, he's 25. He's getting used to the Premier League now. Like, he's showing his ability, and all of a sudden, instead of like going to Liverpool, he's going to Man City.
Yeah. Matheus Nunes is a talented player. As I spoke of earlier, you really want to see a player, excel once you get into 25, 26 year status of your career. Is he at that level where I would say he's world class? No. Is he at that level where I would say that he's even, superstar level or something along those lines? I would say no either. But he is a talent. Certainly has some real good qualities about him. His time at Wolves hasn't been overwhelming. I know as you guys were referencing his play this year against Manchester United. I think though, when you take his whole sample size, size of a game play in the Prem so far, it hasn't been overwhelming. It hasn't been necessarily something that I would write home about. So it is though different. It is a different story though once you do get a player into a camp where he's surrounded by great players, and also by a great coach, and that alone could be the difference maker in bringing that excellence or that commitment to excellence out of him. And I hope it doesn't happen. How about that?
Yeah, that's true. Philip says the best we can hope for in the league is to finish second without ever being in the title race. It's a tough ask, isn't it, man? I was speaking to my friend about it earlier. Like, we had a disagreement about it. He said we're gonna be challenging for the league title. I said don't put too much pressure on the players because they just come through the door. If we put too much, it might filter down to the field and try and make them do something to the extent that it could actually destroy them on the pitch. So if we don't expect too much too soon, maybe it will help them gel as a team and then flourish to become a team that's going to be challenging for the title at the end of the season. We started off well this season, but to me, obviously 2 games, men get sent off. 2 men get sent off. Obviously, we drew that first game. We should have won that game as well. So 2 wins and a draw. It's not bad to start with, but with finishing second, it is going to be difficult. You know what I mean? But I honestly think we still need another centre back because I don't trust his centre backs that we got. Obviously, we speak about Gomez, Matip, and these other players, but what can they offer in the nitty gritty of the season? I mean, how about what they did in the past? They could get injured by just training and things like that. This is why we're desperate to get another centre back. We let go of Nat Phillips. Where's Nat Phillips' replacement? If you know what I mean. So, second is going to be difficult. You know what I mean? Because a lot of our rivals have to actually strengthen. You know what I mean, guys? So you got to think about it that way. And we finished 5th last season.
I don't necessarily agree with that completely. To tell you the truth, I understand that a lot of teams have gotten certainly some acquisitions over the line, but I mean, especially when you hear the clamor. I mean, I'm not going to go by just the clamor and the buzz and tone of the fan bases for these clubs, but I mean, realistically, you're looking at Arsenal, who brought in Timber, who's a good player, but he's injured. Brought in Havertz. That's a big question mark.
Yeah.
You're talking about Manchester United, who just saw their left back go down. Just had to bring in. It's now like scrambling to bring in all these different these little stop gaps for their own team. Talking about Tottenham, who just let go their best player on the team. We're talking about again a lot of different teams when it comes to Newcastle brought in Tonali, but I mean other than Tonali, there's really not many big name acquisitions that they brought in that you're like, wow, that takes them from A to B. I think that with injuries, and I think also with the sheer fact that a lot of these teams aren't making that big of a needle change move with some of the players they're bringing in, I'm not necessarily as pessimistic when it comes to us being able to perform this year. I mean, they have to perform as well. I think sometimes we just focus on ourselves and everything else, but let's be honest, like as in they have to actually reach these bars as well. And you have Manchester City on the screen right now. Manchester City is trying to pick up Mateus Nunes and pick up all these different players, try to develop them. They still got to develop. They got to fit into the system because KDB, for instance, again, a big piece of their team is out for a lengthy period of time. And who knows what you'll see when he comes back to the pitch. So these things are all
is that the
important.
age as well? Is he 32, something like that now? So he's
Yeah,
probably going to be the
exactly.
same. Yeah.
Exactly. So a lot of people were talking about Manchester City, but I know City's going to do results. They have a great coach. They have a great nucleus when it comes to a structured system. But when it comes to the fact that they lost so many pivotal pieces of that club, that you're going, and now one of the few constants that is there is no longer is going through injury rehab. You have to say, hey, if there's any time, this is the year that we could possibly make a push for it. While they scramble to get their footing and everything else, this is when we make that push. And it can't say much more than the fact that, what is it now? 13, 14 games unbeaten so far since last year, right? So 14 games, right? Or 15?
Yeah, around 13
but all
games,
the same,
I think,
right? Not many clubs are able to get those consistent runs. If we can perform that way, we can improve on our waveform. I think that the sheer fact that we're not going to be under the same rigorous schedules as some of the teams that are being considered contenders. Hey, there might be a real push for this title, in my opinion.
What about you, Raphael?
I think honestly, I think we've started the season better than anticipated. When you think about it, we got 4 points out of Stamford Bridge away and Newcastle away, that's big. I mean, the way I look at it, those are two teams that are fighting to be in the top 5/top 6. Granted, those two teams are going their own internal turmoil. Newcastle playing Champions League football seems like the first time ever, but it's not. But it's the first time in a very long time. Chelsea are trying to figure out the balance of that. I mean, at this point.
But they did this before, Raphael. Remember when they bought the likes of De Bruyne, Lukaku, Salah, all these players all at once? They didn't get anywhere because they just had too many personalities, and Mourinho couldn't work with that, basically.
Yeah, and I
so
think
it's not the first time.
Yeah, it's not the first time. I do give Poch a bit more credit with working with youth. He likes the younger players. As you could kind of see at PSG, he struggled to wrangle an older, like more of an elder statesman dressing room. But I think, kind of like what Tough-Man said, the league is the top 6 contenders there's a lot more disarray than there is structure. While I do think we started the season on a better note than I anticipated, my hopes have always been third and a trophy possibly. Europa will be a great addition to add to the European cabinet. And I think it's a tough situation in my opinion because it's hard because we don't know what to expect out of everybody. I feel like everyone has a lot of unknowns. But I think just because of the most recent years and the way the title run-in has been for us, we always tend to pick up form from sometime late March all the way into the end of the season. City's best run of the season is always post-January. And so I always think whenever we lost the league by a point on multiple occasions, those are points dropped in the first half of the season. And like I still go back to the 2021-2022 season, and I still think to this day we lost that league at West Ham away. Disgusting game, but it's the more points that we pick up in the first half of the season, pre-January, which I think January is going to be another interesting time period because AFCON is back. So we're losing
Salah.
Mo, and then we also have the Asian Cup is back too. So Endo and Mo are going to be going in January.
Oh, damn. I didn't think about that one.
That's another aspect where I think once February we kind of get back in tune with things, that's when the season's truly and really going to pick up with a few international windows preparing for the Euros in the summer.
Yeah.
Then also Europa League knockout stages, the run-in to secure top 4. All of those things are massive factors that are going to impact what we do. And at this
compared
point,
to other teams that don't have a lot of African players, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
But if they do, they've got a cover for that position as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You look at Arsenal or City and that.
Yeah, in my eyes, I'm really hoping. As currently, I guess I would give the window about C, give or take. Definitely could have made better improvements, but we covered the bare minimum at least.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping there's some links that start coming out in late fall, and we make a couple moves in January to shore up the squad for the rest of the title run-in.
Yeah.
And to just get our business done before we start to get our outgoings in the next summer.
100%, bro. While that Wolf says at Ajax, Gravenberch played more deep, then moved his stats, dropped off, hence his sell. I think someone said to me he was a number 6 for Ajax. That's what I know. I don't know if he was a number 6, but I'm sure he played a double pivot with someone, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, he juggled around. Ten Hag's midfield at Ajax was very dynamic. In some games, it would it shuffled a little bit. Sometimes he would play in the pivot with Edson Alvarez, who's now at West Ham.
Yeah.
Sometimes he wouldn't start Alvarez, and he would start Grav as the lone 6. Partially because of some of the flexibility Ten Hag had with his ball playing center backs. He got away with playing Grav as a solo 6 because he would pull Lisandro into almost like the pivot position and let him kind of quarterback it from there. But
breaking news, guys! Breaking news! Oh, I gotta bring this to you, people. I gotta bring this to you. Breaking news! There you go. Gravenberch has signed for Liverpool for a 5-year contract, people.
It is.
I'll bring the picture up in a minute. Don't worry. Yes, he signed for Liverpool Football Club on a 5-year deal. And tell me what you think, Raphael, man. Like it's happened now, finally. I mean,
I'm happy that it got over the line. I'm really curious to see how they deploy him. I think he can play all 3 rows in midfield. He can play the 10, the 6, and the 8. So I'm excited. We're packing in a problematic position for us the last couple seasons. At this point, I'm hoping we don't get bit by the injury bug, and worst comes to worst, Endo can play center back too.
What about you, 12th man? What do you think of this news, mate? What do you think of this news? Can't hear you.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't hear the breaking news because I was turning up my volume when you were saying. But if we're talking about the Gravenberch has been officially signed, is that the breaking news?
Yep. Yeah, he's signed for Liverpool.
Just want to make sure. I want to make sure I'm saying not
cool.
saying something. Hey, it's like I said, I am very, very optimistic that what he can do for our club. There is something that I keep stressing though, and that is something on the sense of I know people are like, oh well, Nat Phillips leaving. Oh well, now we're in a bigger bind and we're in this and everything else. Look, someone had to go. Someone was going to have to make room for this player to even have an inkling of an idea of an attempt or a promise to be on game day lineups. And why I say that is, if you look at our lineup, for instance, for Bournemouth, I guess you could say, let's just look at Bournemouth. Yeah. I don't know if you have that the lineup or there yet. I might be able to share the lineup actually. But if you look at the lineup that we had against Bournemouth, we have those 11 players I would say are sharpied in to our roster. They're going to be pretty much every day, all day, game day, participants. But then if you go and look at our bench that showed up for that game, other than maybe Matip or Gomez, who we both need at this moment, right? Every last player on that bench is pretty much is almost like as close to being a Sharpie end player as it comes, So it's like one of those things where I understand there's going to need to be replacement. There's going to be people that have to fill in here and there. There's going to be players that are going to have to be every once in a while are going to sit in the stands as opposed to be on that bench. But that's the reason why I spoke of earlier about the fact that you have to have players that are willing and able to, in their mind, understand the fact that, you might not be an everyday starter, but you're going to be utilized when it's necessary, when injuries happen, or when the opposition that we're playing against is the need is a cause for your skill set to be on the pitch. Those are
that was a start. That was a starting lineup.
Because again,
this was the bench you're talking about. Joe Gomez.
You're showing the bench right now. Okay.
Yeah. Is that what you're asking about?
Yeah, so if you look at the lineup, and I mean, like everyone on the panel, actually, look at the lineup and tell me, like, when you look at that lineup, other than maybe Joe Gomez or Matip, because I think Ben Doak is someone. I think Ben Doak is Klopp's.
Elzar, remember Elzar, guys? Remember Elzar, the one in 2008 and 2009 season when we was challenging Man United? He came off the bench and changed the game a few times. That's how I see Ben Doak. If we're going to be challenging, he'll be a game changer, something like that.
Yeah,
that's how I want to see him. I mean,
honestly, I can see that very well. I mean, like, I think I have a lot of hope and promise. I believe that for Ben. I think Doak is going to do really well for us. I think it's going to be exceptional. I keep stressing the fact that, look, I know people say, oh, well, let's send him out on loan. Let's give him playing time. Let's do this and that.
Nah, he could do that with the first
team. I'm not the biggest fan of that concept, under the pretense that when you have a player, see that lineup that you're showing right now, everyone on the bench is basically going to be practicing against that team. Okay, you're going to be playing almost like consistently against that team. On 11 versus 11 at practice, right? So you're going to get better. You're going to be able to be playing against world-class talent. Okay. Yeah. And not only that, you're going to be learning our system, not Celtic, not Rangers or Leipzig or whoever you end up getting transferred and loaned out to. You're going to be learning our system. You're going to be getting development from our coaches. You're going to be learning how to where our players like to play with the on the pitch. You're going to be learning how to adjust and adapt with our players. I think people sometimes say, oh, throw him out on loan because he's not getting enough playing time. Throw him out on loan because he's not getting playing time. He's getting playing time. I mean, like, it's not like they're just sitting in a room, and just like reading books and watching video. They're getting playing time. It's just more so I get that the game time in people's minds is important. I'm not discounting that at all. But I think that it's important to know that that lineup that you're looking at right there, that bench, because we said we can all agree, right?
We was disappointed when we saw that bench.
Lineup that we saw above is sharpied in. We can agree that all these players are always going to be on the starting lineup unless they're injured, right?
Yeah.
We can all agree on that, correct?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And then if you go to the bench, and if you pan down and go to the bench, again, we're now looking at that lineup doesn't have Curtis Jones. That lineup doesn't have Thiago. That lineup doesn't now have Ryan Gravenberch.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? That's one of those. So you're basically saying one of these three people, if you want to include those three people that I just mentioned, are going to have to sit in the stands. That's and obviously you want to have coverage for your team. So you're going to want to have center back coverage. You're going to want to have midfield coverage. You're going to want to have someone to have coverage for the front line. But I'm just trying to get across that like the management of a roster is a lot more difficult than sometimes people put out there as it being. That's one of my major points. And I like the fact that I believe we now have some real depth. I mean, I really believe we have some real depth.
Yeah, well, this was our strongest players at one point, isn't it, Torben? This was our strongest team at one point. Now we added a couple of players, Endo and Gravenberch. Come on, it's more powerful than ever, isn't it now?
Right.
I mean, we don't have to play McAllister Day anymore.
What's that? Oh yeah, you don't have to play
McAllister Day anymore. Yeah.
Exactly. And you'll be able to see Dom, you'll be able to see McAllister not have to you be utilized so much.
Play out of position, yeah. I like it.
There is something I think we'll eventually get into it, but there is something that I definitely want to challenge our panel on, which is like because I overheard as soon as I heard the Endo thing, it was like it's like the Ring. I popped up and I was like ready to strike. But yeah, I definitely think that people are doing a disservice to Endo. I think that
it's sad, man. It's really sad in my opinion, bro.
It's two games he's played, and both games he's played with 10 men.
Yeah,
and it wasn't because of his doing.
I actually calculated the other day. He's played. I want to say he's played a total of like right under like 100 minutes, about 93, 94 minutes, somewhere around that. And 57 of those minutes have been a man down.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it's like I alluded to earlier, 12 man. I said it earlier, 12 man. Do you remember when we first met around the January time, like when we was all out in the streams and all that stuff? Everybody was asking about Gakpo. What they were talking about Gakpo. They were saying Gakpo is not good enough when he first came, like first few weeks, few months after January, and now they're begging for Gakpo to play every game. And so make up your mind. You know what I mean? Like this guy's only comes for 2 games, and you're already saying he's a bad player. It doesn't make any sense.
No, people are saying he's a bad player or he's a bad signing long before that. But I think that's also because when it comes to your average fan, when I say average, I mean all due respect. I mean average as in your everyday fan.
Yeah.
When it comes to your everyday fan, the majority of us, myself included, I'm not watching every league. Okay, it's difficult enough to watch every game in the Premier League, much less watch the Italian league, the Spanish league, the German league, now the Portuguese league, the French league. Like you're not watching all these leagues and then watching every game of every league to have an idea of every player in that league. So I understand that his name doesn't have like that wow factor associated to it. He's not a headline style player in the sense of that he's playing on some other level. But last time I looked, Japan did really well in the World Cup, and he was a big part. He was a big component of the way that they played, and a big part of their success in the World Cup. They played some really talented teams. Football.
Yeah,
and they played some really good football. Okay, and then as far and being the captain of that team, by the way, too. Okay, and then being as far as to say, okay, well, Stuttgart's not that good and everything else. They're more of a bottom layer Bundesliga team. Yeah, but he's also a cult hero on that team for a reason, because he's slated as being one of the main reasons why they weren't relegated twice.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not his responsibility to score goals. Okay, that normally gets you the wins, right? But it is his responsibility to play defense, and at least can consistently say that you might not lose. If you don't get scored on, chances are you're not going to lose, right? So therefore, he's done enough of that to keep Stuttgart where they were, or keep them in the league. That says something about his ability. And like, if you ask people, I know for myself, when I ask people about in the Bundesliga that do watch Bundesliga religiously, they say he's a great player. Say he's a really, really good player. And like, if I were to tell you, if I were to say to you guys, hey, you know what? We're gonna get the top five, one of the top 5 DMs in Germany. You'd be pretty. I think we'd all be pretty happy.
I would be. I mean, listen. The thing is, 12 man.
The only problem is the name doesn't.
It's the money in it. It's the money. It's the money spent. It's the money spent and the age. That's what it is, mate. It's the money spent and the age of the player.
Just about to harp on the age. FIFA and football managers have like, I won't even say eroded, but it has completely shifted the way a lot of fan bases look at players who are 28, 29, 30, 31.
They look down on them now, yeah.
Exactly. And like I said, like what I pointed out earlier in the stream is that Fabinho is 29, Endo is 30. Yet over the longevity of their careers, Fabinho has 15,000 more club minutes than Endo. Which, so when you start to think about that, that's about 5 seasons of less legs. So while I do understand the age concerns, if he gets injured, I do get it. But in terms of mileage on the player, I'm not buying it. I think he needs more of a structure to bet into. And Klopp, on the last interview, Klopp has also said, like, he still doesn't know the system. We haven't really taught him the system. We haven't had the chance to.
Right.
So I think I'll definitely give him a chance, because at the end of Milner's time here at the club, it kind of became clear that he was on his way, not necessarily out the club, but you could just tell he was getting older. I mean, for Christ's sakes, he's
about 37, isn't he? Yeah.
Right. So like, and he was playing, like, he got his debut at 16 when Leeds was in the Prem the first time. Like,
as a striker, don't forget, people.
It's a perspective thing. I think him as a Milner replacement with a little bit more legs, a bit more tactical flexibility, and can deliver. He's a decent passer, so I'm cool with that.
Can I also say though that you got to I know Klopp has been involved in, obviously his role in picking out transfers or being able to campaign for certain players is more a prominent role right at the current status of him with the club. But I can also say this, the FSG mindset when it comes to players has never really been to go for a plus 28, much less a 30-year-old player. Now, if you came to the board and the board is pretty stingy upon, we only really go for these types of players. We only go for this window of age group of player, and yet Klopp has convinced them that this player is worth going for, even at 30. You have to say to yourself, why? That's at least what I go. I mean, like when I see people go, oh, and they want to, and they allow for the rival banter and all that other stuff. They're like kind of mix in with their opinions. But realistically, if Klopp
that's the recent picture, guys. Yeah, just to let you know.
I see that.
That's brilliant, isn't it? Like, this is when he was supporting us when we were in the league, and now this is him today taking the photo shoot. It's crazy, man.
I love that.
Brilliant. I love it. I really love it.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing, though, isn't it? 12th man, like at least he supports the club. I mean, and there's already
helps.
pictures of him. I mean, there's
It
already
helps.
because people said that was a fake picture. It shows it wasn't because he's doing the same pose. There you go.
No, it helps immensely. It helps. I think that if you have a player that wants to play for your club, a player that has like some affection, some type of a love for your club, you know, we everyone wants to be a legend in essence. You know, everyone wants to be, you know, a cult hero, those types of things. And I mean, when you're young and you're playing, you know, whether it's FIFA, I mean, even Mo Salah spoke of the fact that when he would play FIFA, you know, on his PlayStation at home, he would choose and play, you know, play Liverpool. You tend to play the team that you like, you know, when you do those types of things. And it's one of those things where, like, yeah, you know, those kinds of things further ingratiate yourself into the lore and into the fan base and into everything that surrounds the club. That's always a positive in my mind. So, bro. Yeah, if he does that, cool. I just don't want to see that he's going to be like Caicedo in the sense of, you know, liking like 6 teams and acting like
no. What is he going to end up Real Madrid at the end? I mean, like,
absolutely. Absolutely.
I love this picture, man. I can't believe he did the same pose. Like, it's weird. It's weird. Someone must, you know, Liverpool. They always do things like this. They always do things like they did that thing with the Soboslai with the green, red, and white with the shirts. That was the actual shirts. It wasn't actually a flag. It was the actual shirts we have. So they didn't agree. Yeah, his country, like Hungary. It's crazy, man. So, all right, we move on from Liverpool. Let's get to this. What do you got? Is this gonna make this team stronger with this guy? Raphael, are they going to be more competitive, Man United, or are they lost still? They're not the same team anymore like they used to be. Like, but let me just read this comment before we go on. Wild Dead Wolf says, Forrest Johnson going to Tottenham 50 million, Amrabat having medical join Man United. That's one. I think obviously the Johnson one is obviously going to Tottenham for 50 million, and Amrabat is only going on loan because Man United can't spend any money. Basically, that's the.
It's only a loan deal.
Yeah, they can't spend.
A loan deal.
Fair play or whatever it is. They overspent already. So what do you think of Amrabat going on loan to Man United? Because they're gonna have that double pivot now, guys, aren't they? They're gonna make you know that terrible defense they go at the back with Varane, Maguire, and Lindelof, and who's the other one? Is it Fernandes? What's Hernandez?
No, they brought in
the small guy, the one who
the guy from Chelsea, actually.
No, the Ajax defender. There's a small one they bought from Ajax. What's his name again? The one Salah sent the wrong way. Is it Hernandez or? No,
you're thinking of the Butcher.
Yeah.
Lisandro Martinez.
That's it. Yeah, they got him. So basically, they're gonna play these two guys. It looks like in front of them and give Fernandez a free role. Obviously, that's how it looks to me. But what do you think of them now, mate? Are they really competitive? Can they compete for the title now, or do they need more?
I think it solves part of the problem. And see, like, Amrabat slides in more as a stopgap in terms of he's not the best ball progressor. He's not the best midfield connector. He's not the best midfield creator. But he possesses enough quality in those attributes to fix what Man United need. Because as it's clear that Casemiro playing with Kroos and Modric for so long, he just didn't develop another side of his game. And that's okay because he's an okay distance passer at times.
Yeah.
But I really think it helps tip the midfield balance that they have closer to the right direction. But I still don't think it won't do well. I think it will support. Their team will look best against bigger sides. Like I'm curious to see how they set up versus Arsenal as well as City this season. I think it'll support them versus City and it'll support them versus us. Because Man United really only try to take it to the opponents when they're at home. They play counterattack and ball away from home.
Yeah. So
it's interesting to see how it all kind of falls together. I think he can provide some good things for the midfield. I don't think he's the solution though.
I've seen
he's an
El
okay
Hadji do
stopgap.
something in the World Cup. You know what I mean? Back in the day,
Yeah.
and Salif Diao, but it wasn't the same players that you saw at your football club eventually, is it? So
Yeah.
those kind of things. What do you? Yeah.
James Rodriguez that's another one too, man.
Oh, what a shame.
Captivated the world at the 2014 World Cup, and then
not the same
never
player,
quite put it together at Madrid.
That's true. What do you think, 12th man of this guy? Is he going to change Man United? Really? Like having that double pivot with Casemiro and him protecting that defense? With
I think that they understand. Yeah, I was going to say, I think that they understand that Casemiro isn't the player that they could rely on from last year. I think that also they understand the fact that, placing him in that role is not necessarily bringing out the best in the club or the best results, as in continuity and structure for their team. So I definitely think that I'm not going to pretend to say that Amrabat isn't somewhat of a good player or someone that has certainly some type of promise or when I say promise, some type of ability and skill set that is exceptional. I mean, you spoke about all the miles that Fabinho has over Endo. I think what was it, 15,000 you said or something?
About 15,000 the difference.
Okay, so like for 15,000 minutes, I think you could probably constitute that into the 15,000 kilometers, if not, that Amrabat ran in the World Cup, basically, because I mean his heat map was ridiculous when it comes to seeing how much of the pitch that he's involved in and how much field he covers. But yeah, I'm optimistic that this is going to be I guess good for them in essence. I don't necessarily want it to be good, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's really going to be what I think they're looking for, what we're bringing Endo in. I know it's not some Endo agenda. Maybe it is, but all the same, and that is that they're looking for a player that can play defense. They're not looking for Amrabat to be a scorer. They're not looking for him to contribute to, like his passing range isn't great. It's not like he has some incredible ability to do crosses or anything like that. See, they're just looking for him to be a defensive anchor, someone that's going to really be able to cover up spaces and provide coverage for the other players on their squad to go forward. And that's exactly what he does. And he's a talented player under that attribute. But I'm hoping that it doesn't work out, obviously. So we'll see. We'll absolutely see. And I mean, like the fact that, again, he as well is going to be leaving to go to AFCON as well. So he's a player that you're bringing in that, during January, maybe during some of the games that you're going to need him when you're facing other clubs, he's not going to be available.
Yeah, that's true. I don't. Well, like I've always said, World Cups and African nations, Euros, whatever, can be deceiving at times. And I mean, I've seen so many players that look good in those kind of competitions, but when it comes to day-to-day club football, they're not the same type of players. Mate, I just think Man United is just a lost club, man. They're just living on old traditions and they're desperate. That's Liverpool of the 90s, really, if you think about it. Like when I was growing up in the 90s, Roy Evans was our manager. Like we was chasing past glories in a certain way, we're just splashing the cash. That's what we was doing. We was buying players left, right, and centre, but it just wasn't working. And that's how I see it. And they tell me about Ten Hag. Yeah, I think the honeymoon period is over. I don't know if you guys seen it on Spaces on Twitter now. Like some people are having it out for Ten Hag now. Rafael, what is going on?
It's a very what's crazy is I never even thought I would see a fan base so split, but I'm heavy in the Twitter Spaces, and it's like there's like a Ten Hag army that like protects him like from the guys who want Ten Hag out. It's pretty crazy because I think part of it is when you hear former Ajax manager who worked with Pep, you're not hearing front to back transition ball.
Yeah.
You think Johan Cruyff, Ajax influence, you think Pep influence, you're expecting beautiful football, lots of intricate passes and movement, a lot of dynamic player movement. And that's what the expectations are. And I think he is in a spot right now with Man United, what I feel like every Man United gaffer has to go through.
Yeah.
Do you prioritize winning your way in the long term and run the risk of getting sacked short term, or do you prioritize getting results early on and slowly bet in your way of football over time? And I think he's prioritized results, which is how they got the League Cup and they got top 4. But that part of that is with the Man United hierarchy. If they aren't ready to go on a 4 to 5 year project that gets ugly like Arsenal's did at one point, then they're not actually looking for the best interest of the football club. They don't really care about the type of football they play. They just want results. And so it's almost as if it's a shit like almost like a older Chelsea transfer strategy back in like during the Roman Abramovich, Jose Mourinho era.
Yeah.
That is just not working out well across the board. So I think he'll get time.
Yeah.
I do have a few banter bets with a few of my friends with United fans that he may not make it to match day 6 in the Champions League. But we'll see.
What about you, 12 man? Like, what do you think of them? I know you wanted to say something earlier. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, no. You spot the comments that we just said is spot on. And what? Not only that, 24. I think they've had 24 players out so far, being Manchester United. They've brought in 7 with this one, I think, but 6 so far, 7 with Amrabat. They brought in Mount, they brought in Onana, they brought in Highland as being their big transfers. They obviously brought in Reguilon as a stopgap to fill in the position for the injury. But I was just also looking up as well. It's £334.6 million or $426 million is what they've spent so far under Ten Hag. And it's amazing, like as in that number alone is so incredibly high that you have to bring results. You have to you can't say that you spent over 400 million or over 300 million pounds, let's say, and say that you haven't in this short amount of time, you haven't gotten the players that you want. You have.
Crazy.
So if anything, results are necessary, and that's going to take more than just getting like a League Cup. That's an accomplishment. I'm not going to diminish getting silverware in any form. Silverware is silverware, but there's only so long you can hang your hat on, winning the League Cup, and it's the same for instance for Arteta, like as it's so long you can keep bringing up, oh well, he won the FA Cup. Well, how long does that last for?
The hardest thing in football,
what our fan base does for a coach that's won 7 major titles,
I can't believe
it's like it's one of those things. So
you know what's sad? For the managers that followed Ferguson, like they're always going to be compared to that guy. That's the worst part of it. The thing that's killed that club is the longevity of Ferguson. I mean, if it was 1 or 2 years, they could have probably replaced, the manager. But he stayed over 25, 26 years. That's too long, man. That is too long for a team that wants to keep having success on a consistent basis. If you know what I mean, guys. Are you guys up for listening to Gravenberch? I am.
Oh, absolutely.
For only 1 minute. It's only 1 minute 22 seconds. So let's
hear it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let me know if you can't hear, because sometimes I have this issue.
So why Liverpool?
Can you hear him?
And why Liverpool?
Okay.
The right club?
Can you hear him? Yeah.
Yeah, if you see it from the outside, it's one of the biggest clubs in the world. Also the fans, the stadium. Yeah, I think like everything it's from outside it's top. So that's why.
Obviously, there are a couple of guys in the team here that you already know from the national team. Did you speak with Virgil and Cody about the move?
Yeah. Before the move, I spoke a lot with the guys, and they said, we have like a good team. Everything is top here, so actually my decision went was quick.
They seemed pretty happy to see you this morning.
Yeah. Finally.
Now, obviously, we saw when you arrived at the training ground, you spoke with the manager, you went in his office. What was that like? What kind of things were you talking about?
Yeah, about everything. Yeah, it's just a good coach, and he gave me so warm feeling, you know. Also, I went there with my girlfriend, and he spoke about almost everything and good things. So I'm very happy with him also.
How did that make you feel when you left his office after that talk?
Also, like a great feeling, and can't wait to start with him on the pitch.
Man, that's brilliant, man.
That's,
It's gonna be very interesting, Raphael and Thorpe, man. Like watching these players, like I said, like with these players, they're ballers, aren't they? They know how to play football. That's what's important, and keeping the ball is going to be their you know the way they're going to be playing. So I just can't wait, man. When we control games, like I said, Raphael, earlier as well, the most important thing that used to get in my nerves, like so the worst thing that used to get in my nerves in the past, is when we go to the likes of this Etihad and just get dominated possession and all that stuff. Now we're looking at these players. That might not even happen anymore because they can hold their own. You know what I mean? You saw Soboslai the other day. He can run. I couldn't believe. Did you see the first few minutes when Botman had a head start and then he came out of nowhere and got the ball before Botman? I didn't even know this guy had that pace. And then you got McAllister who could walk up and down that pitch. And you got this kid who's probably quicker than both of them. He's 6'3" and he could dominate that midfield as well. But yeah, Raphael, go ahead, mate. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I think you can just, from watching that, you can just tell the energy that he had. Like, he was ecstatic. He's like he's gassed for the move. He's gassed to be playing for the gaffer. There's like so much that you could read from that. And like, I'm happy he's in the squad. I think it adds a fair share of dynamicability that we've been desiring in midfield. Some of the just some of the players that we have that it adds so much to, man. I'm excited. I think he'll bed in well with the other Dutch guys, and I mean, historically, man, Dutch guys play well for Liverpool. What can I say?
That is true, man. 100%, man. 100%. So what do you think of him, 12, man? He just spoke, man. The new governor in that midfield. He's happy.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't wait. He said, like, so we can't wait either.
Well, if anything, you know, it's a new lease on life. If anything, for him, you know, for his soccer life at least, or football life, excuse me. It's a new lease in the sense of it's an opportunity. It's a new door that he could walk through and absolutely, you know, perform for a club that he has some affection for, and be able. It's a great opportunity as well to really be a prominent player for a huge club. Let's not get it twisted. You know, I know that Saudi Arabia is kind of like trying to, you know, do this raid on us lately, and that's one of the reasons why I don't want even more of a reason why I don't want to see Salah go, because I don't like it when teams or clubs try to look at us as being like, you know, oh, they're easy to, let's just take it from them because they don't have the prominence or the you know, the background to hold on to world-class players. But realistically, yeah, there's a great opportunity for him, and I'm always excited to see people that know that there is opportunity, and it's just a matter of making the most of it. And I think that he's recognized that, and he also understands the fact that it's not only a privilege, it's also a heavy accomplishment to actually get to play in the Premier League. It's the best league in the world, rated as one of the best leagues, if not the best league in the world. You know, and that alone is something to hang his hat on. So, and on top of that, let me say this. He's also going to go join friends. I mean, he has a relationship, you know, with Hakpo. He has a relationship, obviously, with Van Dijk being the captain of the Dutch team. You know, he's a black Dutch player. You know, so and I want to make the caveat of saying that, you know, it's nice when you're able to find people that, you know, are looking at somewhat of the same through the same lenses as you're looking at it when it comes to, hey, well, what's there to do in Liverpool, or hey, what are we gonna get into? What kind of food are we gonna get into, and everything else, whatever those types of concepts are for whatever, the Dutch a Dutchman would love to eat. So it's just little things like that, that make your transition.
It's the harmony of the squad, isn't it, man? Like he'll feel at home. Do you get what I'm saying, guys? He's not gonna feel like an outsider. Like like sometimes when you haven't got countrymen in the club, you feel like an outsider, and it takes you time to bed in and come to your own. But with him, he's got Pep Linders there. He's got Van Dijk there. He's got Gakpo there. Sepp Vandenberg when he's around. So he's got all those players there that could make him feel at home. So once he starts playing, he's already feeling at home. So he doesn't have to worry about anything else. That's what I like about him, man. And he looks like a confident player. Dutch people are always confident, guys. You know what I mean? I've never seen a Dutch player that's not confident. They got this that aura about them. It's weird, man. And I wish every player had that kind of aura.
I was going to say also real quick too, just to compliment what you're saying, is that it also helps when you're able to speak in your native tongue to someone. There's things that you might want to get out, things that you might want to actually be able to say, or maybe having an issue or a problem, or not understanding something that the coach is saying, or whatever the case might be. It helps when someone's able to speak the words that you can understand, as opposed to even sometimes someone trying to interpret it for you. And it being not a word for word interpretation of what that person is saying. It has different context, maybe. All those things apply differently, because I know if I'm sitting in a group and people are speaking a different language, you feel, ostracized. You feel like you're not a part of the group, But then once you start to communicate in the tongue that you understand, it makes you feel more included, and it also helps the learning process and everything else, and the adaptation process as well.
That's what I said about if you look at Endo, he's in the wilderness, that's what I like about Klopp. Well, as soon as he walked in through the door, Klopp went up to him and said to him, "We really need you." He made him feel confident, innit? Like you're wanted around the actual team and all that stuff. And I like that, because a lot of people were asking questions about Klopp. Why is he saying that we really need you and all that stuff? If you don't motivate a player while he's there, what's the actual point? You're the manager. That's what you're supposed to do. and I don't care about his age. What matters is what he's going to do on the pitch and off the pitch for the team, and that's what I thought we was going to miss. I've been saying for a while. If Henderson and Milner leave, where's that leadership in the team? And we're going to be missing that. Now we've got the likes of Endo and Van Dijk and Salah. Everybody is in one place now, and it looks good. It looks good. We said we want a midfielder that's experienced, and we want a midfielder that's young. Now we've got both. It might not be everyone's cup of tea, but we've got both, so you can't really complain anymore, man, because a lot of people complain about it. I want to speak about this player.
Can I ask you both? Can I ask you both? Would you have rather have had Lavia? I understand you might say Caicedo, obviously for obvious reasons, because he was high on my list too. But would you have rather had Lavia or Ryan or Gravenberch if you had to make the decision between the two?
I think Gravenberch is more of a complete player than Lavia. Lavia is only 19, so it's going to take a while for him to become a complete player. You know what I mean? To where Gravenberch is, if you know what I mean. Because Gravenberch already had a higher ceiling when he was in Ajax, didn't he, guys? So that's how I see it. With Lavia, he's just learning his trade. He got relegated with Southampton, but he's learning his trade. He's been, Man City sold him to Southampton. So I think Gravenberch is a better player because he's already got that ceiling. Everybody knows who he is. Not many people know who Lavia is yet. So Gravenberch, I think so. I watched him in the last couple of days.
I definitely would have took Gravenberch. I think the only real upside while Lavia was a option for so long is because he would qualify for homegrown once he hit 22.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they wanted, part of the reason why they wanted him, but part of the reason why they didn't pull the trigger at that elevated price point was because of Champions League minutes. And knowing that you can get a player with Champions League minutes, experience, he's literally played a Champions League game at Anfield.
Yeah, he did.
And you don't have to spend 16 mil more. It was almost a no-brainer, but I'm glad they got it over the line, and I wish they would have pivoted and locked it up a bit sooner.
Yeah.
But I'm just glad they got it over the line, and I think it was money well spent.
Yeah, 100%. Guys, what I want to speak about, obviously, like, is a transfer window in it, so I'm trying to like do this on a regular transfer like deadline day. About this player here, Hudson-Odoi. He had the highest ceiling. Bayern Munich were offering around the £50 million, £45 million mark to sign him, and Chelsea refused. He had a serious knee injury, I think he had, and he wasn't the same player anymore. But now he's been sold to Nottingham Forest for £8 million. Can he revive his career, or that injury, that knee injury that he had, maybe has hampered his career right now? 12th man. I don't know if you know much about him, 12th man. Do you know about Hudson-Odoi? He signed for Nottingham Forest today. Can you hear me, 12th man?
I don't. I'm not gonna lie and say that he's someone that was on my radar. But I will say this for Nottingham Forest. They have been doing work when it comes to the transfer market. I know they spent a lot of money last year. I know that they've brought in quite a few players. I'm looking at the list now, not including this player, I guess, but I'm looking at the list that they brought in now. They brought in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they brought in 11 players so far. Whether it's obviously Hudson-Odoi, but Dominguez, they brought in Tavares, they brought in Santos, they brought in Maria, they brought in Matt Turner, who I'm big on. I think that was an excellent choice for him to bring it in. I know that's American bias, but all the same, I think that he's a talent. You see him on the international national stage, and he's actually the fact that he's surpassed goalkeepers that were not one, but if not two spots ahead of him to become the starting goalkeeper says a lot about how he's definitely matured and progressed in his development. You're also looking at a couple of different frees and undisclosed with Chris Wood, but Ilanga, again, another Manchester United transfer for them. So I think that they're really looking at a decent squad. They're looking to make some real big differences. They got our Nico Williams there as well. It's like one of those things where, hey, this team is trying to make a difference, and they have a very storied past, or a definite unique history in the sense of having prominence in this league at some point. There's only one way to make that return, and that's just by doing what they're doing, by bringing in players for the future.
100%. What about you, Raphael? I know you know a lot about him already. Obviously,
Yeah,
we discussed it in spaces and that, but
Hudson-Odoi is the victim of a very bad injury and the revolving door of managers at Chelsea.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but when you think about someone, I believe he's only 23, 24.
Yeah.
I want to say he's played under 7 different managers, and we're not even talking about on loan. It's very hard for players to develop when there's indecisiveness about their position. Very indecisiveness about just where they fit within the team. Because when you go back and think about it, I believe he made his debut under Sarri.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Sarri. After Sarri came in, there was Frank. After Frank, there was Tuchel. After Tuchel, there was Potter. Then there was the other caretaker. Then there was
Lampard.
Frank again.
Yeah.
It's that's 6 different managers, and then now there's Poch. At some point you need a complete change of environment, and he was also on loan, I believe, last season at Leverkusen, playing under Xabi Alonso.
Yeah.
That's too much instability for a young player to bet in. Young players trying to find their feet in professional football are very much kind of like kids early on in life. A lot can be going on around them, but as long as there's some stability and some normalization of okay, you're going to be a left wing and I'm going to play you here. That it helps their development. But the different managers want to play him in different systems. Some want to play him as a 10. Some want to play him as a left or right winger. I think most of his minutes at Chelsea have actually been played as a wingback.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so
true.
it's just like it's very hard. I think a change of environment, not too far from London, not going all the way across Europe. So I think it's a good situation that can help him.
Yeah.
5 million too. Well, apparently the fee was
It's
5 million
so
pounds. That says that you're pretty much at the age and with the injuries that you were just speaking on. 5 million is like obviously to have that evaluation of a player says a lot.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of potential there, but Nottingham Forest are very, very, very strategic about how they do things. If you notice, they for FFP reasons, they got the 50 mil fee for Brennan Johnson, which was a phenomenal move. But also for the way that they're structuring a lot of their deals, obviously transfer fee amortization is a very big in Europe right now, also just in England. But the way they secretly plucked a lot of these other homegrown players out of all these essentially unwanted academy talents.
And look at the age. Look at the age, guys. Just look at the age as well. Look at the age.
Exactly. Like we got a few pennies from like the sell-on clause with Taiwo Abaneyi, which it sucks that he never actually got to make his full Liverpool debut.
Yeah.
The money that we got from Nico Williams, that was huge. But they're stockpiling a nice solid group of English youngsters that hold value in the Prem because they're homegrown. They get Prem experience. So it's almost a developing model where they target younger homegrown academy rejects that can potentially bring on larger fees, almost rehab their career, then that funds the international transfer business that they do. It's from like looking at it from afar, it's a very solid model, especially as they want to just become more stable in the league. I think right now is honestly if they can finish anywhere between 11th through 15th, I think it's a solid season. I think they want to slowly inch their way up the table. You don't want to make that massive jump too soon. I feel like that it kind of creates almost like a yo-yo effect. But I think that they're doing the right thing to slowly let themselves slide up the table.
Yeah. And they're selling that Johnson kid, the Welsh international kid, to Tottenham today as well. I think around 40-something million. They haven't actually confirmed exactly how much, but yeah, around. I heard it's around that time, that much. So it's not bad. Like, you know what I mean? You're getting youngsters in, and you could put a resale value on them as well. You know what I mean? You're getting them in for nothing and selling them for more. That's a genius. They got Tavares as well, obviously from Arsenal, the left back, left wing back. I don't know what he can do, because when I watched him against Liverpool a couple of seasons ago, he couldn't defend. He couldn't defend at all. So yeah, they're not doing a bad job. Look, and then you got Aston Villa signing.
It was sneaky, but I don't trust their defenders.
Aston Villa.
Yeah, I don't trust their defenders whatsoever. I mean,
he was at Tottenham. This guy, wasn't he, last season? He was at Tottenham.
He was on loan at Spurs last season. Believe it or not, it was rumored that he was going to go on a permanent deal to Spurs, but that ended up collapsing, so he ended up at Villa. I think Villa is going to be. They're not going to be easy 3 points like they used to be. I think it'll be a hard fought. It's a hard fought 90 minutes in Villa Park, but also at home.
Yeah, 100%. When they're off at the end, the guys who are like a few minutes away from obviously the transfer window ending, they just announced that over there. Like, we already knew that. We already put it up there. Like, Amrabat is going to Man United for on loan. So
no, sorry, I'm reacting to the graphic. I'm sorry, that was a great graphic.
That's okay.
Reject.
Yeah. But listen, there's still a few minutes to go. I hope like they don't sign him, man. I'll be upset if they sign him, man.
Like people are saying too, it's September 7th is their window. So I mean, technically they even though our window might close, they could still keep knocking on that door saying, hey, can we get this player? I think that it's as much as we all, rate the Saudi Arabian clubs or businessmen for their business. I just think it's bad business to come to a club and say, we're going to try to take your best player that you have on contract for 3 years, or it's 2 years now, but 3 years, right? Yeah. And just signed to a 3-year extension, and you're going to wait till the very last day to then say, hey, we're going to make a great offer for you, but if you can't find a replacement or you can't find someone relatively suitable, hey, that's on you, but we want your player. Like, to think that's good business.
The arrogance is just appalling.
Yeah.
Man. It's the arrogance that's pissing me off more than anything. Yeah. Hawklord says David Lynch, Ryan Gravenberch won't be available to make his debut against Aston Villa on Sunday. Wasn't registered with the Premier League by the midday deadline. Okay. Well, it is what it is, isn't it? But it's kind of weird, isn't it? Like, Endo just came on straight away, didn't he? As soon as he signed, the next day he was available.
I have the Sky Sports Transfer Center tracker on, and they said something. If the players were not registered by noon,
right?
There's a chance. But they said they're not registered by noon, but they're registered sometime before 11 p.m. The registration will still be processed, but they won't be able to feature until Sunday. So I don't know. I think there's a chance he may be able to make an appearance. I mean,
do you think it's necessary? Do you think that we desperately need him to? I'm just asking you.
No. I don't think.
But it'd be good. It'd be good in a kind of way. It's a home game. You know what I mean? Get the atmosphere going. New players on the scene.
But he hasn't had one practice session. He hasn't
Neither did Endo. Neither did Endo, mate. He played. Yeah,
I think bringing him on 90 plus. Yeah. And I'm more so looking at it from the perspective of if you don't play him Sunday, there's 2 weeks of an international break.
Yes.
And then you gotta bread him in after that. So while I do understand it doesn't necessarily make sense to play him Sunday, I still think giving him maybe 3 or 4 minutes wouldn't be I wouldn't. I'm not I'm not even talking 15. 15 would be overkill in my opinion. Get him on at the 88th minute, especially with this new added time. Get him on 88th minute. We get 5 or 6 added minutes and just let him close out the match.
Guys, I want to ask you this question about obviously Liverpool. Where does this put us now? Signing these players, obviously Endo and Gravenberch. Where does this put us in the Premier League? Is this what we need for us to, challenge Man City? Or is it going to get closer? Or is it going to be top 4 kind of thing? What do you see us at 12 man with these signings? I know, I already know what you said to me before, but I want you to, let other people know about it as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, I know you said that my statements earlier about the fact that the rest of the league has to worry about their own injuries, has to worry about their own form, has to worry about their own consistency, and actually the rest of the league, the ones that we're actually trying to compete with, the upper tier teams that we're trying to compete and contend with, those teams are also have to take on new responsibilities. Let's not get it twisted. Newcastle has to take on Champions League, and they have a very, very difficult group to take on. Okay, so that's a difficult process. To get through. Arsenal, again, I get that Arsenal has a somewhat of a lesser group to handle, but I still think though it's a bigger step for them now because they have to perform. They can't sit there and take that lightly and end up getting knocked out of the Champions League with that group. That alone could be a real punch in the gut to say, maybe we don't have what we need. Maybe it really puts a lot of question into their own mindsets. You know, who else do we have? Again, Tottenham is just on a new coach. They just lost a new player and all those different things. With Manchester United, we've seen what we're just seeing with Manchester United, absolutely scrambling for players. Blocked with a lot of FFP concerns as well with how they're going to get in. You know, you have a player like I saw this statistic, or at least I was making up the statistic. I was making up the comparison, at least on Twitter, to get the buzz going. But it was a comment that I put out there that I was saying, you know, you look at Antony and you look at Modric, for instance, for Chelsea, another team that wants to make some real moves this year. You know, they've together, each one of them was like, you know, they were all bigger, higher transfer fees for those players than for Darwin. Okay, yet they have, I think, 2 goals between them. Yeah. So like, you know, like it's one of those things where like you look at production, you're going to be looking at a new level, a new stage, a new process for a lot of these players. And I think that if you had told a Liverpool fan in the beginning of the transfer window that by the end of the transfer window, we're going to have Szoboszlai, we're going to have McAllister, we're going to have Endo, and now we're going to have Gravenberch, I think you'd say that's a really successful window. You know, I know that on Twitter again there was I'm trying to think of what the exact. There was a response, a tweet out there, and they were saying how, like, you know, McAllister, they were putting the player that we brought in to the player that we're losing, and they're like, every one of the players was an upgrade. You know, so to say that we got younger, to say that we got upgrade in talent wise in a midfield that was primarily one of the main concerns for our club, I think it's a win-win. And I'm already clipped up, and I was the first to put out there Europa quad. So I'm going to get, you know, I'm going to get hit up say that, I'm sure, you know, but I'm looking at it as like, hey, you know what? I really think that we have a great angle towards achieving it. We have a different route towards achieving that accomplishment. And I think that different route is because of the fact that we're not in the same competitions, you know, and because that we have upgraded this club in my book.
What do you think, Raphael? Like, where can we like finish? As you can see, 12 men, he thinks we could do the quad the other way.
Yeah, I think in my eyes, the perfect year would be like 2001. We pull a cup treble. Yeah. I like more so like without being the overzealous fan perspective, my expectations are at least top 4 and ideally at least 1 trophy. I think Europe was a phenomenal opportunity for us because of the minutes that it allow us, but also the trophy opportunity it affords us. I think I'm thinking 3rd with at least Europa. I'm very content with that. That's the kind of almost reconstructive season I would be looking for. So I think that those expectations would be pretty good, unless we make some really nice additions in the January window. Then I think the conversation changes a little bit, where I may be with 12th man almost saying quad. But I think I think we're in position. We're definitely in a very good position to get top 4. I think the teams, because I mean, what's crazy is last season representing England in the Champions League, it was City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Spurs. Yeah. There are 3 completely different teams in the champs with City this year. Yeah. And I don't know if they're ready, those clubs are ready for what the Champions League is bringing. In terms of competitiveness and spitefulness in some of the fixtures, they're long fought 90 minutes midweek, and then you got to go on the end of the weekend go and play City at the Etihad. Like it's a different beast. Arsenal, I mean, I'm not even going to completely age myself, but Arsenal haven't been in Champions League since before I graduated uni. Like, let's be real. And then United are like, you know how they talk about yo-yo clubs from the Premier to the Championship. United are a Champions League yo-yo club.
Yeah.
They get to the champs, get knocked out the groups, then it's Europa, knocked out the Europa, then Europa League. Then they make their way, they get top 4, they get to the champ, and it's kind of the back and forth thing. They're a European yo-yo club. Yeah. And Newcastle, I don't see. I already did not have high hopes for Newcastle, but that group, that kind of put the nail in the coffin. Hopefully, they can get 4 points and not finish last and maybe make the Europa. But yeah, I think our chances of top 4 are pretty strong. Ideally, 1 trophy.
Do you think like we're still like a couple of players away? Like what would it take for you, Raphael, for us to be competing for the league? Like, what do we exactly need this summer for us to compete?
In my opinion, another like a actual more of an elder statesman, more defensive midfielder who's probably more of a duplicate profile, who can play center mid and DM and center back. But someone more so the 24 to 26 age range for that DM position. And wishful thinking, 2 defenders. Yeah. And that would also be doubled with Samika's outgoing. So a defender who can play on the left and right side, as well as a left-sided defender who could play left center back as well as left back. In my opinion, if we made those moves, there's no reason why we can't compete at the highest level. Because then we have the attacking depth, we have the midfield depth, we have the defensive depth. I'm very confident with our 2 goalkeepers. I'm still a little bit salty about Adrian in our Prem winning season, but I digress. But I think
you got a silverware, man. You got a silverware.
Yeah,
he got a silverware. He did. He did.
He knocked us out the champs, though, so it's fine. But I think essentially, even if like 2 defenders is a bit greedy, but 1 DM and another center back, and I would have been chef's kiss perfect window. Yeah, because we were more in a position to slowly transition, get a defender each window, our defensive rebuild. But now next year, Matip is leaving, and then we're going to also have to get Verge cover as a left-sided center back. So that's a two center back minimum next year.
What's your position in Konate now, mate? Like, he's becoming an injury-prone player, guys. I mean, I'm worried. I'm really worried. I'll ask both of you though, but go, Raphael.
I don't want to go too hard on a tactical perspective, but Konate's injuries are not really his fault. No, I'm not saying his body's giving out on him, but he's expected to cover a lot of ground every match day.
Yes.
And people are surprised when his hamstrings can't consistently hold up for 4 or 5 games in a row. But yeah, I think very, very, very good player. But we have to start looking at how we want to support him for the longevity of his Liverpool career.
Spot on, man. What about you, 12th man, about Konate? He's getting injured all the time. He doesn't even have to play games anymore. Like it's like Raphael said, he's covering too much ground, and what is he, 22, 23? So his body is still developing, and it looks like he's struggling a lot, mate. And I'm worried for him now. I'm really, really worried for him.
Yeah, I can understand that. But as much as I understand that we are putting a heavy burden on him by having to cover, when Trent goes inverted and everything else and yada, yada. I think that, hey, especially with the injuries, the way they're happening. You know, it's the injuries are just that. They're just something that you have to work through. You have to, you know, there's something that you have to like. It can be frustrating. There's a lot of different players that have had to go through, you know, injuries or get knocks or, you know, heck, you know, considering our track record with Naby, when it comes to hearing about injuries, you know, like when I think of injury laden players, I think of Naby, you know, getting hurt on grass, much less like actually playing on it, you know. So I'm still very optimistic because I think if there's anything that Konate could like look forward to or possibly even learn from is the continued commitment of like a Gomez, who has had some really, really, really harsh injuries that aren't even remotely to the level, you know, that Konate's had to deal with, in the sense of going Konate's injuries aren't even remotely to the level of Gomez's injuries. And yet Gomez has fought through. He's continued to, despite the fact that, you know, Gomez has gotten these injuries, whether it's in practice with the national team or whether it's with us with the club team, you know, and he's still persevered, you know, forward. He's always just continued to say, hey, you know what, just keep going at it, keep pushing forward, and keep moving towards your goals. And I'm hoping that Konate can show the same attention and dedication. And I think that you know, it's something that I hope that he gets under control. I also hope, though, that one of the biggest things I've said, though, about this club, and if there's been any focus of constructive criticism, and it's for this club coming from me at least, it's always been on our medical team, you know. And when I mean our medical team, I mean from top to bottom our medical team, because it's one thing. A medical team is one thing when you deal with someone getting injured, but it's a whole nother you know, department in essence, you know, or team that you have to deal with when you're trying to get rehabbed back into playing shape. And then it's a whole nother thing when it deals with like your nutrition. It's a whole nother thing when you deal with all these different aspects that are going to help you maintain your fitness, and not only maintain it, but regain it. And that's something that I've always been critical of the club, is that you have to have every top to bottom, you have to have every aspect of the club on world-class level if you're going to have world-class aspirations. So that's something that I think is more of a focus for me.
I think that's what's missing at Liverpool, guys. Like, as soon as we stepped away from, you know, the backroom staff to the obviously the manager to the players, we had one unit, as I remember, like all togetherness. Ever since we stepped away, Marco Edwards left and all these other guys left around him, the analyst team, the doctor, whatever, you know, these people who were important to the club left. It hasn't been the same. That's what we need to get back to in order for us to do what we was doing before and be the standards for every other club. There's a way to challenge the likes of, you know, City and, you know, Newcastle with their money and all that stuff, and that's to be like in a good place from the top to the bottom, if you know what I mean. So that's what we need to get back to, in my opinion. And I think that's what Arsenal's taken away from us. It's like us switched. Arsenal, what did they do first? They sorted their backroom staff out. They got a person that actually used to play for them, Edu, as their sporting director. They got Arteta, ex-player. They're all ex-players, all people that you can trust around that, you know, and you know, that football club. And that's what we need to go back to. If you look at Peter Moore, Liverpudlian, he's a Scouser, although he works in America for, what was it, Google and all that stuff. You had Marco Edwards, Liverpool fan since his birth, he said. So you had all those people that you can trust in the backroom staff, and that's what we need to get back to in order for us to, you know, do what we've done in the past as well, be the standard barrier for everyone. Listen, man, we've done so much for football in general. If you think about it, guys, like, if it wasn't for Liverpool Football Club, do you think the likes of Arsenal, all them would be challenging right now? I don't think so, man, because we showed, even with this billionaire clubs, the amount of money they spent, we still can, you know, compete. At the end of the day, you're only facing human beings. You just have to find the right players to fit the tactics that you put out on the pitch. And, you know, there's always players that's hungry, more hungry than these big time Charlies, as I call them, the ones who have the big paychecks. So that's how it worked. I mean, and
No,
now,
you're right.
now,
That's right.
yeah,
It's
now,
kind of
well, go
no,
on.
no, no.
Go on.
I didn't mean to. Interrupt. No, I was gonna
Okay.
add real quick. I was gonna ask you, have you seen the Sky Sport did a report on, like, it actually it factors in inflation, but it shows the spending of every club in the Premier League, and it's a pretty incredible breakdown on how clubs have spent money, and it shows, like, there's this one graph that shows, like, how the teams have, like, fluctuated as to who's spending the most, to who's now spending the least, and everything else. Completely. And it's a very interesting transition that you saw with this club. And you're right, it's scary. It's really crazy because, like, there was more money that got spent for instance, with Rafa and for King Kenny, than there's been for Jurgen Klopp,
Exactly.
and it's one of those things. But yet we've gotten greater results out of all those coaches from what we've been spending. I think it's like it's about spending your money wisely, and I think that's something that has to be stressed. That a lot of people always want to see the big name, they want to see the big price tag, that's associated with it, because then they automatically associate the fact that it must be important or it must be a great player. It's about spending money wisely. Not every player.
Let me give you a prime example, guys. Let me give you a prime example. 12 man, PSG. Yeah, they've got all the best players in the world. Where are they now? Like, they're not the same club anymore. Nobody wants to be there anymore. I mean, so that shows, like,
look
getting
what
the
they've
best
done.
players is not always any benefit.
Yeah, look at what they've done. They've done a complete pivot from what they were doing when they had Neymar, Messi, and I mean, and preparing for Mbappe to leave. I mean, like, as in at one time, you look at their payroll, they have people in their payroll that were making more in their payroll than teams were making. Okay, so like, it's one of those things. You're absolutely right.
What did Wolf say is big up. Big up. Just back to say respect to El Fayed, owner Harrods, Fulham Football Club died. Oh damn! I didn't know that, man. Oh damn! Rest in peace. Great guy. Got Fulham back in the Premier League. Said would in 5 years. Did it in 4. RRP. Catch you guys. So catch you later, guys. Yeah. Yeah, he's a wonderful guy, man. He's a wonderful guy, man. Rest in peace. I mean, sad day if you think about it. He did a lot for Fulham Football Club, and he put them back in the map, and compete for the Premier League as well. So, guys, obviously we're at the end. I don't see Salah leaving or anything like that. Thank God for that. You know what I like about the Salah thing? Like, he didn't come out and say anything. He didn't do a Coutinho. He didn't do a Suarez biting someone or anything like that. He just, like, got to the training ground, done his training, going home. That's it. I mean, people are saying he should come out and say something. Why does he have to come out? He didn't say he wanted to leave. So come on, man. Like, give the guy a break.
I think that people say that it's disingenuous when people say those things too, just as you're saying, because realistically, he's got a family, he's got his own ideas and concerns for his future and for the future of his family. They're trying to create pressure on for him to move or whatever, but he wants to be respectful not only to us, but he wants to still be respectful to Saudi Arabia, to the Arab and the Muslim world, that he's a very big part, a big star and an icon amongst, so you don't want to do things that are going to alienate people, and there's no reason for it. I mean, like, as in, he has definitely a word or a hand in whether it goes forward, but it's not completely in his hands either. He's got to make a decision, and whether it takes Klopp's comments that I've heard Klopp saying about how he's been a professional, how he's still vocal in the locker room. He's
Mm-hmm.
moving on. And then top of that, you know what? Look, this team underperformed last year. Let's just get it straight. I had a hashtag out there talking about hashtags. Like, not all my hashtags come true, but one of the hashtags I had out there was 71 points. And and in reality, Mo Salah was the reason why we didn't get 71 points off of just 2 penalty kicks. Okay, so I think that any person, at least I think someone with character, which I do believe he has, would say to himself, "Hey, you know what? I want to set this team right. I'm not going to allow for us to have a terrible year, for us to fall short of our goals. And then when having the opportunity to on a new year to accomplish new goals, if not establish yourself again in this league, hey, you've got a lot of questions and answers to provide. And I think that he's an honorable person enough to say, we've got a mission this year. And I'm hoping that that's his mindset.
Exactly. What about you, Raphael? Like, in regards to Salah, the way people are complaining about him not coming out and saying, "I want to stay," and all that stuff.
I think Salah's not one to necessarily always come out and voice his opinion like that.
Nope.
He only really comes out and speaks directly to the fans when he falls short of a target.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if anybody saw it, but his agent, when the Saudi interest first started looming, his agent came out and said we wouldn't have signed a 3-year deal last season if we wanted to go. Mo's happy here, and he kind of left it at that. And so expecting the player to come out personally and address those things, in my opinion, it just shows that, like, if he wants to address the chatter and the rumors and the newspaper headlines, he's not as focused on his football as he should be. And as a guy who's married, has children, and like prime example, people were like clamoring on one of his Instagram posts the other day because he took his wife and his daughters down to the museum. Like, let the man spend quality time with his family when he has the free time. He's a professional footballer who's not always afforded these luxuries and free time that we as non-professionals have. So I think he handled it the right way. Don't need to address any of the back and forth in the media. Handle it through your right channels, your intermediaries, which I feel like he did, and just kind of let everybody else chatter. I have no issues with the way he handled it. I think the fact that his agent came out and made a statement, that was enough for me. That kind of made it clear.
Exactly, man. 100%. I think there's too much pressure on that poor guy, man. You know what I mean? He takes a picture with a Christmas tree and everybody thinks that's his house. And I keep telling people, no, it's not. It's a club celebration. You know what I mean? He's respecting people's celebrations. That's what a Muslim's supposed to do. I'm a Muslim myself. We respect other people's, traditions and all that stuff. That's what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? So they say, no, he brought the Christmas tree to his house, but he doesn't believe in it. You see him praying on the pitch when he scores goals and all that stuff. So it's crazy. It's crazy, man. But I'm glad. Listen, the transfer window is closed, but like you guys said, it's still 7 days to go, and there might be something happening in that 7 days. But listen, if I trust Klopp. Like Klopp said in the summer, trust us. We're gonna do something special. So I'm taking my manager's word for it at the end of the day. All right, guys. We're done out here. Johnson has signed for Tottenham, by the way, guys. Breaking news from Nottingham Forest. What's his name? Brennan Johnson. Yeah, from the Nottingham Forest has signed for Tottenham. There's no fee. I can't say anything like that. There you go. Another young prospect leaving Nottingham Forest. So, Raphael, where can people find you? We know where he's going to find you now, but just let them know, bro.
You can find me on Twitter at BigGuyT_. I'm always there. You may catch me hosting the space. I tend to host LFC post-match spaces when I have the time. And looking forward to be back on the channel more frequently, man.
Yeah, big up, bro. 12, say your thing, mate. Go ahead, bro. I don't know what's good, Mark.
All right. So as it says right there, if you just write that into the YouTube search, you're gonna find my channel. You'll also find that I do to various episodes, whether it's tactics, whether it's dealing with player breakdowns, whether it's just dealing with whatever topic or subject of the day. I'm all about also building this mighty Red Army that I'm believing and hoping can continue to get back to the basics of uplifting each other, continuing to promote and support each other, and to continue to project positivity towards this club, and and manifest something great. And I think that that's what we all need in our lives, which is the support of each other. So I hope that you join me in this cause and this mission. And again, you can find me at Liverpool 12th Man.
Big up, bro. Big up. Yes, people. As you can see, you can find these guys. Obviously, 12 Man has got his own channel. Please go and subscribe to him. Let me just put it up. Sorry, apologies. And Raphael is going to be on here doing his own stuff as well. So please tune in. They're going to be doing their own stuff and all that good stuff. So hang on, let me just put their channels in here. As you can see, there you go. You can find all these people on their own channels. So please go and subscribe to them. And like all their videos as well, because the likes help the channel trend around YouTube. So please do that for us. Yeah, so that's it for me, man. That's 2 streams in one day. You know what I mean? I done one at 2:30. I done one at 8 o'clock, like I promised, and I've been here since the transfer window ended. So you might still hear some stuff happening behind the scenes, last minute kind of things, like paperwork and all that stuff. There could be some more signings, but you could catch that obviously on the other channels on YouTube and obviously the TV on Sky Sports and all that stuff. Yeah, people, that's me done. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll probably see you Sunday. I might miss it out tomorrow. I'm not promising anything. You might see a little video. But yeah, take care, everybody. Take care, man.